That's cool.
And I think we've just hit live. There we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome very much for coming to this shit show that is my show. We've got Critical Spooky. We've got Miss Sassy. We've got KC. Everybody, thank you very much for turning up. And we've got Nakasuchi, the Raging Atheist, a Raging Atheist. Why did you, when you changed it back, did you not change it back to the Raging Atheist over a Raging Atheist?
Yeah, I don't know. It was I had reasons, right? Like, but a lot of people have asked me that, and it's like, yeah, it's kind of stupid not to just change it back to the Raging Atheist. I had good reasons, and it was mainly like I knew I was going to start incorporating more people on the show. Like, John and Ali are like pretty much partners now. So I didn't want it to be just singular, so me as being a Raging Atheist is a good description of myself. But yes, I really don't know. It was a stupid move, and I'm too stubborn to just change it back to the Raging Atheist.
Well, once you get your you should easily get your custom URL, and then you're stuck with the name forever. That's the only fucking thing with that. Like, is once you pick it, you're stuck with it.
Yeah, I do have my custom URL, and I do believe it's still the Raging Atheist, but I never use it. Like, I don't know. I never understood any of that shit.
Branding. It's all about the branding.
Yeah, that's what Ali's going to be helping me with this year.
Yeah, Nick Nim, look him up on YouTube too. He's very good for helpful hints. Like, he's a YouTube channel about helping YouTube channelers.
What's his name?
Nick Nim.
Oh, no, I hadn't heard of him. I've been watching a couple people.
I'll send you a link, man. He does live streams once a week as well, where you can jump in with him and his brother and actually directly ask them questions, like, which is quite cool.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I'll check him out, man. Like, yeah, that's the whole thing this year is to grow as much as we can, learn as much about YouTube as we can, try to be more algorithm friendly. It's hard because I curse a lot.
Well, yeah. I know. I was happening just to mention, I was talking about it with a woman at work the other day about the channel, and she was like, oh, my wee girl just loves YouTube. And her wee girl walked over, and she's about 6, and she was like, yeah, I love YouTube. And she's like, is it safe for kids? I'm like, is it fuck safe for kids?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much all my daughter watches, which, I'm very adamant about checking and making sure that all she's watching is kid shit. She better not have a Raging Atheist. Yeah. I mean, it's YouTube has changed. I know there's a lot of gripe and debate, and I think that they're being fascist as hell. But hey, it's the nature of America now, and you got to change with the times. And I never really expected the channel to get as big as it did. It was always a hobby, but now I'm being pushed to take it a little more seriously. I think I should have probably a long time before, But we're gonna get back to the old school type of stuff as well. So it's not gonna be all just PG-13 anymore.
Yeah, well,
I want to make sure that.
Yeah, well, PG-13 is good and stuff like that. And if you want to do it, I think you should have maybe a separate channel for that. But these conversations and these things that we do and have and talk about, they're not generally for anyone. And I personally think anyone under a certain age hasn't really got to the stage in their life yet where they understand themselves.
And I think YouTube's going to get to a spot to where they understand it. Like, I think that they're always kind of like really strict at first, and then the rules get a bit lax. And that's one thing that in our conversations behind the scenes with me and my moderator team and John and Ali is, maybe the edited videos we can kind of push back to PG-13, had that, once in a while R-rated, but with the live streams, with the conversations, it's just going to be, the way it is, just hopefully a better production.
Yeah, it's definitely an over 18 sort of thing that has to be happening here. And I personally think that it's not that anyone under that age or under a certain age can't have these conversations, but not to be an asshole, but fuck me, you're a child. Grow up and have some life experiences and find your place in the world before you try and find your place in the metaphysical world. Like,
Yeah, I learned that the hard way with Guzman too, because I wanted the NIFB to be represented, and he was 12 when I first brought him on, and
Wow.
he could hold his own in the conversation. It wasn't that though; it was mainly like his parents were crazy as fuck, and then so that made me scared about Guzman. Like I'm having him in these really adult conversations. If his parents really wanted to get you know stupid, they could try to I don't know, do something to me. So it became like not just me, but John and um, a lot of the people that were involved at the time was like, yeah, this kid, it's good conversations, but we just can't have it. This is 18 plus. And it ended up affecting Godless Galaxy, who was only 16 at the time. Very smart kid, Satanist. Love having him on the channel, but, it needs to be 18 plus,
Yeah, it really should, because if you leave it open to underage, then other people, okay, you've got two or three there that are underage that are interested in it, but the general trend, it would be no,
Yeah,
not good.
most of the audience is adults. So yeah, yeah, I'm definitely not speaking to a teenage crowd with my content. So yeah, it's gonna always stay like that. I do see like, yeah, we got some people up in the house. What's up, everybody?
They'll all start hopefully flowing in now eventually.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
I
usually how it
actually,
works for me too.
I've decided that I'm going to start 2020 off with actually planning and making an effort. So I've got like 6 or 7 points that I've written down. So I'm going to try and stay on track ever so slightly as best I can.
Me too. My main thing is like scheduling in advance. So in order to get like bigger and bigger names, you got to really schedule them well ahead of time and try to give them enough time to put it into their schedule. So that's what I'm working on here at the beginning of the year. So what Ali's really kicking me in the ass to do is, be on my schedule. So I'm going to be reaching out for our first interview. I already know who it's going to be. I just got to make it happen.
Yeah, no, you have to get out there and, like the other night I was bored and Jungle Jargon went live, so I just decided to jump in and introduce myself to him. Just get out, get about, and as you say, scheduling. Neil, the 604 Athiest, is fucking booked up to the end of March nearly.
Yeah, he's on that shit, dude. That like I really like his scheduling system. Like he'll just get with you on Twitter, send you a schedule, and be like, pick a date.
Yeah,
And that's really what I need to do. So we're trying to work all that stuff out. We have a lot of stuff. Like today, at some point today, I was supposed to roll out my new Patreon package, but I think I'm gonna wait till tomorrow to do so. But yeah, it's just so much crammed here at the very beginning. But I'm excited about getting organized and scheduled, and I'm excited about the people that I'm planning on trying to get on the channel. It's going to be a different year for my channel. I think it's going to be a really big year.
well, Neil, as you say, it is good to schedule ahead because not that I'm fucking anybody, but he has me coming on the 26th of February, and it's my daughter's birthday on the 28th, and I'd already booked 2 days off for that, so it was just a matter of booking because of the time zone difference. His interviews are
Yeah,
something like 2 o'clock in the morning for me, and I was like, fuck it, man, I'll just book the next day off work and we'll just after party it all night. And it worked out well because then now I'm getting 3 days in a row, so the ability to pick that date and doing it far ahead has worked out better for me. Like.
yeah, yeah. So I'm going to be doing that, kind of emulating him. Ooh, excuse me. I'm drinking coffee, so I might burp a little bit.
As I said to Neil last night in his stream, at least 50% of what I'm doing here has come from him. He is a very good platform, it's a very good idea. Have the interview or have the guest on, interview them for a while, open it up for an after party. Other people can come in and ask them questions. And if you're up for that, as I say, we had a few hours, so I usually go an hour with this and then open it up for anyone to come in. And I think that is a good way because it gives the guest a chance to, put their point across and this, that,
Oh
and
yeah,
the
yeah. I
other.
got time.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, I usually ask people, and the first question I always ask people when they come on here is, why are you here? What brought you on to YouTube? What gave you the need to, were you bored?
I was tired of being shut down by people around me. For a decade, I've been trying to talk politics and get them to see rationally what would be in their best interest. And it was like talking to a brick wall. And the same thing went with the Christians in my family. I would try to tell them the the things that I was learning, all the books that I was reading and the thoughts that I was having, and they would just completely shut me down. It got to the point where I was invited to family functions if I didn't talk about certain things. It
Oh,
was a rule. So it mainly was that. It was just I needed something to talk to. So at first it was just me and a webcam, mainly talking politics, but a little bit of God shit. Completely different channel than what I have now. So yeah, activism, just really wanting to talk shit and have people listen.
yeah, I can feel where you're coming from. My girlfriend's family are from the south of Ireland. They're very heavy, very strong Catholics, and there's an auntie that I'm not allowed to talk God with. It's just not allowed because it ends up in a row and we end up screaming and
Yeah,
shouting at each other. And
yeah, and most of my family are right wing conservatives, but I have a couple liberals, none near as liberal as I am. But yeah, I'm like surrounded by this sea of right wing people that think that I'm just like this alien creature and they can't understand how, I come from the same DNA stock that they do. And then you add on the fact that they're all believers in God and I'm an atheist. And yeah, so I was pretty isolated here in Battle Creek for quite a long time. If I didn't have my daughter, I would have been completely isolated probably.
and you, well, obviously coming from a Christian background, do you mind me asking what was it? Baptist, Young Earth
Southern
Creationist,
Baptist.
Southern Baptist, wasn't it? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well, I tried a bunch of different things though, and I was really open about it too. So I think that's what initially turned off my Christian family members is because I openly questioned my Christianity. I openly became a Buddhist, a Taoist, and
Yeah.
then I was very open about my Native American shit, and they was just like, "This dude is crazy."
Yeah, well, I find everybody once they leave Christianity goes through the whole, deistic point and then the anti-theist point and, maybe pantheism for a while, maybe a bit of poly,
Yeah,
and then eventually they sort of land on the atheist for a while, and then when they get to a certain age, they go agnostic or else stick with atheism. It's sort of a pattern that's, Jesus, man, it's the way our brain works. We have to figure things out, as a reference to earlier. We need to grow up and find ourselves and just figure out shit.
yeah, yeah. And I think I was definitely more atheistic when I made a raging atheist. But yeah, just learning and being part of the conversation. So you learn more about yourself. You learn what atheist and agnostic really are. And yeah, I'd say I probably fall more on the agnostic lines now. But a raging agnostic just doesn't have that ring.
No. It was the same whenever me and Richard named our series. We were that one we did about the David and Goliath thing. We were bopping back and forth about names, and it's literally about the inner planets. But then we called it interstellar objects, because inner planets doesn't sound just as good as interstellar objects. It's like a play on words.
Yeah,
As you say, man, you have to sort of work with what you've got, and if you're fucking close enough, you're grand. You're grand.
yeah, yeah. And I definitely found out that a raging atheist, the raging atheist, it does have a ring to it because when I changed my name for about 2.5 months, 3 months, growth didn't just stop; it started going backwards. Right, like it was fucking insane. And the moment that I changed my name back, it was immediate. The going backwards stopped immediately, and then it was like 2 weeks. I was pretty much back to the same growth rate that I had been at before. So
Do you
yeah, the
think that
name
was the search
name's
terms?
almost everything.
Do you think that was the search terms, or people,
Maybe.
the fact that you were like a raging atheist, a lot of your support came from people going, "Go fuck you, Christians," and then when you went
Yeah, I think that's
Nakasuchi,
what it is. And I had gotten a reputation already, and my reputation's a lot bigger than my channel. So yeah, I think that's what it is. I've started actually something I never did before, but I do now is like I actually put a raging atheist in my tags because it helps. It helps
yeah, it really
get
does,
it out
man. I've got like 4 spellings of Mathpig in there with caps and
there.
down
Yeah,
caps, and yeah, use
I'm learning these things
use every
slowly.
single tag possible, man. And even if you have a small conversation, you're like, me and you've mentioned politics once. If we mention it one more time, I'm going to use politics as a tag, and it just helps with the algorithm. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I try to stay away from it unless I'm specifically talking about it because I will go off on tangents and rants, and people in the chat will get triggered.
Well, I don't find it disingenuous to use a tag as long as it's been mentioned 2 or 3 times in the chat.
Yeah.
I would think it would be disingenuous to use politics in the description because that's not what we're talking about.
Mhm.
But fuck, if someone wants to look for it in a tag, I'm not going to stop them.
Yeah, and anything to help the algorithm kind of push it out a little bit. That's what I'm learning. That's what it's the side of YouTube that I always ignored before, and just ran it into the camera or the microphone, whatever I was talking into. But now it's like, Allie's been a good influence. She's like, you need to really learn. If you want to do YouTube, like you spend all this time doing YouTube, you should actually learn about it.
I have a question from the chat from Miss Sassy. She wants to know, Paul and Morgan. Can you get Paul and Morgan on your show?
I doubt it. It's possible because Paul and Morgan are connected, have a connection with that Christian vlogger. But I think that even with that Christian vlogger, like approaching them, once they saw my response videos to them, or just my channel in general, I think that they would be too scared to come on. So I doubt it. But unless I'm just wrong about their character.
Yeah, I watched his most recent video there that he released. I think it was about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. I've been following him now. He's got his new channel and his new podcast. I like sort of idea where he's going with as well. Something similar what I'm aiming for here, but from a Christian perspective, I was going to reach out to him. And yeah, now that I've had you on, you can't say no. I'm going to tap you for a wee connection there. But yeah, I like the Christian vlogger. He seems very genuine. I'm always up for having conversations with genuine people.
Yeah, he wants to have conversations with other worldviews besides Christianity, especially as Seventh-day Adventist.
Well, if you say Christianity is a worldview, does that mean atheism is a worldview as well?
No, it's not. He would probably say it is.
I jest. But yeah, no, he seems like a very genuine person. People who I also think would be genuine would be Richard Madsen, and I like Converse Contender. I'm starting to get to know him a wee bit, and he seems like a very genuine guy. Obviously, he's I think he mentioned earlier he might have Alex Malpass and someone coming onto his channel to discuss something. So yeah,
he seems to be very intelligent. I want to have him on. I'd like to schedule him on, and I'd walk into it perfectly aware that I was out of my league intelligence wise. Ali would probably be right up there with him, but the dude knows a lot, and sometimes I'm just like listening to him, I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? And I have to go and look shit up, and it's like a different level. But yeah, I definitely want to have him on.
It's funny because Converse actually was a dentist's apprentice or something to do with dentistry before he did construction, and now he's doing this because he made a wee bit of money on his last house. And yeah, he seems like a very intelligent, very determined, and I have a lot of respect for people who want to get their hands dirty and get knuckled down and improve themselves. People who sit and stagnate, and what we would have over here is the dole. I'll just have another baby so I can get more money in the dole and just sit in the house and do nothing. If you want to improve yourself and get better, I have an awful lot of respect for that.
Yeah. So do I. So I'm just reading your chat. Moshin Lala.
Yes, we were talking earlier. I think you had someone on, and he wanted to just clarification. I think that they made a comment that Islam was feminist, and that you just sort of knocked it off and let it go, or you agreed with them. And I'm not sure when the video was. I couldn't find it, but
so I don't know as much about Islam as I should. And we did have a guest on that said things that I did just kind of gloss over because I wanted to find out about it, and we did. I talked to several people about it. And yeah, I think that stream clearly things were said that were not correct, straight up. I am planning this year to do a lot more coverage on Islam, having ex-Islamic apostates on to educate me. I do not think that really you can reconcile Islam and feminism from what I know about it. That stream, I was really trying to be respectful of a friend's wife. And yeah, I should have been more critical and harsher with my questions, especially considering that my instincts at the time was correct, and that a lot of the things that she was saying would have been contested by pretty much all Muslims. So yeah, I fully am aware that was a stream that I'm not very proud of.
Thank you very much for the clarification on that. Because Mushin probably will leave now because this is the first stream. He's in my Discord and we talk all the time, but he doesn't really watch my channel. But when he heard that you were coming on, he was like, "Oh, I want to ask him this." And I was like, "Right, okay." So
that's something that we have talked about quite a bit behind the scenes. and I want to be respectful to Kara and uh, uh, its position. But at the same time, yeah, I think that I wouldn't agree with a lot of the things that she said. And I would tend to more agree with what I've learned from ex apostates
Yeah,
or
John seems to
apostates.
be going down that route and meeting up with Faye and things like that there. And
Yeah.
he hasn't been very busy at the minute, or he's been sort of taking a background. I just shout out to John Peterson if he hears me in the crowd. We'd be thinking about you, man, sitting there and wondering where you
He
are.
should be having a stream on my channel again this week. We talked not too long ago, and he was going to get amped back up beginning of the year. And yeah, I'm planning on having Faye and a lot more um, Muslim apostates on, so I can learn more and bring them into the community more, and hopefully give them some exposure as well.
Right. Well, I have a few questions I want to ask, and the chat's
But,
lively with questions tonight, which is quite good as well. They usually be doing their own thing, talking about dildos or something. You don't know what does be going on in the chat sometimes.
I put my foot in my mouth so much that yeah, I'm sure that there's plenty of questions for me. So
Yeah, well, I have been described as Switzerland. It seems like this is a safe place for people to come and use me as a conduit to ask annoying questions to guests.
hey, I don't mind it, man. It's fun.
Well, if anything, man, I sort of went off on James a wee bit from Modern Day Debate. I don't know if you've seen that stream, but I think his moderation has improved, and I hope to see the channel going forward and doing better for it. Like so. Plus, to give me a
Yeah, yeah.
connection, he's now got a Discord as well, and his Discord is fucking booming. Like I think in the first 48 hours there was well over 100 people there. It's just exploded.
Yeah, I'm in there. I just haven't. I hardly ever do much on Discord. I need to be better about it.
Yeah, no, I sent you the DM and then I didn't get a reply, so I popped into yours and I was like, "Can someone send Knock?" Because you don't follow me back, you see, so I couldn't tweet you. And I was like, "Can someone send Knock a Twitter message?"
Oh,
And
actually, I
then you
gotta
came
change that.
straight in, and then I was like, "Oh no, sorted. He's found it. He's found it."
Yeah, I got into Discord like right before plugging in my microphone and everything. I'm like, yeah, running a little late. The football game turned out to be really good, and I was watching Star Wars and football at the same time, so I kind of ran a little late doing that.
Well, I have a question from Spooky Bedher. Do you know of Spooky Bedher?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
long time follower.
Spooky Bedher. Well, if you're gonna ask questions, what do you and Naka really think of pagans? And I let you
Um,
answer first, or do you want me to answer first? Should I take the stepping stone first?
oh yeah, no, I'll definitely answer. I think of pagans pretty much like I think of Christians. If your ideology isn't harmful, if you're not being judgmental, if you are trying to convert me, I'm probably not going to have too much of a problem with you. I think, like with all people, you're going to argue and bicker sometimes. But I genuinely like the pagan friends that I've made. I feel like we're true, genuine friends, and they don't do any of those things that I find so atrocious in um, Christianity. That doesn't mean that we can't have heated conversations and debates, and we often do behind the scenes. But yeah, I genuinely think that they're good allies, and a different kind of theist to offer a different version of religion to kind of combat Abrahamics. I think is helpful. So yeah, that's my answer.
Well, with the exception of that last wee snippet, that last wee comment, most of that was about the people. Most of that was based in the actual character of the person, and I would feel the same whenever I'm talking to people. I personally don't get, the pagan religion. I just think it's just like Darth Dawkins with an extra step to create justification, but it depends on the person. As you say, if they don't proselytize, if they don't push it, and if their actual character is a good person, then it doesn't really matter. When you look at someone.
I see the religion itself as actually a better possibility than the Yahweh. I think it's closer to the source, and that like it's they were killed off by the major religions mainly.
Oh yes, of course, yeah.
So I feel compassion for him in that sense. I've always been fascinated with the Greek mythology. Later in life, I became fascinated. Well, before I met Ocean, I grew fascinated with Norse mythology. So,
Yeah, it was all
I've
about
always
the
had a
Egyptians.
fascination with the religions. But yeah, to me, they just don't hold enough power to be a threat. Maybe if they did, it would be a different story. But I genuinely pretty much like the pagans I've met. Now I understand that there are elements of paganism that me and Ali are going to be attacked. I don't know these people. Ali and the pagans I know them, but yeah, most of the ones that I've met I've liked.
Yeah, yeah, which is the point I'm trying to make. It basically boils down to the character of the person at the end of the day. It wouldn't care if they were a Satanist or an alien worshipper
Yeah,
or, thought that Mercury was going to land into Jupiter and create a second sun. We love you, Richard. You know we do.
yeah. It's the same like with Richard. He's a Christian. Usually, I don't like too many Christians, but I don't find his ideology to be harmful, and I find it fascinating, and I try to learn more about it.
I made a joke the other day in Tug's live stream, and there was only a few of us there. We were bantering back and forth. I think he was playing, what do you call that new game that everybody plays? Fortnite.
So, oh yeah, I've never played it,
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you
but I've
definitely
heard
have.
about it.
Yeah.
What's up,
And
Ali?
he was making it, just talking about his character, talking about whatever he was talking about, and I was like, "Oh, it's simple for me. I just treat Tug like he's a atheist pretending to be a Christian, pretending to be an atheist." And that's, you know, I don't know. It's silly. Whenever I look
Yeah,
at a person, I don't see I see who they are. How they react. You are what you do, and you are
yeah.
how you act.
I think it's a different stance than when I first started this channel because I think when I first started this channel, I was definitely judgmental of beliefs. If you were a Christian, I immediately lumped you in just this huge camp that all Christians were in,
Yeah, same
and
as
then
me.
maybe a few Christians would be on the outside of that camp, but they're still atrocious Christians. But like, I think I've come a long way from that point.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely remember. I think watching a stream of yours. Oh, it could be 6 or 7 months ago, where you made some sort. Well, I wouldn't use the word admittance; it's a bad word. But you were like, "Oh, I was a fucking anti-theist. I'm just calming down now. I'm calming
Yeah.
down." But as I say, we all go through that for certain periods. And I never asked when we were talking about it, man. When did you actually leave religion? You're in your what age are you now? If you don't
I'm
mind me asking.
42.
42. I'm
Yeah, I'm
36.
42. So, like, I often say I left religion. Like, I stopped being a Christian when I was in prison still. So I was like 20, 21 maybe. Um, but like,
Is that common
actually,
knowledge? Because I didn't actually know that you were in prison.
oh yeah,
I
yeah.
knew that
I've
you
talked
had trouble, and weren't the nicest of person, but
Oh yeah, no, yeah. I went to shit. I got locked up originally. I believe I was 18, and I got out when I was just about to turn 22. Yeah, yeah. We were stealing guns and being fuckers of people.
that's an offer of conversation we should talk about, man. I learned to drive from the son of an IRA man out running cops, like in an unmarked BM. So yeah, these are things, but I
Oh yeah.
didn't get caught, lucky enough.
Oh yeah. I remember like we were out in the middle of the woods because this is really rural North Carolina. You're more cows than people, and we were sitting out in the woods smoking weed, and you could see the teams of cops with their hounds just going through the woods way in the distance with their flashlights and shit. And we're like, man, we're gonna go to Mexico. We're gonna get away. All this stupid shit. And the next day, my dad found us, and we turned ourselves in because they were gonna shoot, because we stole a bunch of guns. So they didn't know if we were armed and dangerous. So it's like you need to go turn yourself in.
Yeah, well, America's different than over here. You can get away with a wee bit more over here, mainly because guns don't be involved. Like I do personally own guns, but I use it more of a hobby rather than wanting to
Yeah,
fucking shoot people.
people wonder why I'm so anti-gun, and it's personal experience. It's shit that I did, the people that I dealt with. Yeah, I have good legitimate reasons for being as anti-gun as I am, and it's mainly because I participated in the gun black market. So
Yeah. Well,
I
over
was
here
dealing
we
with
don't
very
really
very
have a
bad
gun
people.
black market. My dad is ex-army. I've been around guns my entire life, and we would be quite rural out here, so you would shoot rabbits and things like that. And the gun I use more often than not is my .22 air rifle, which only has a limit of about 30 meters or so. Like it's mainly for target practice. I haven't killed anything with it yet, and I've had it over close to 2 years now. Most of the time I actually go to my mum's house in the summer, and she has a nice big massive garden, and she comes out and sits and we chat back and forth and have the crack while I lie in the grass and shoot targets. You know,
Yeah, I'm telling you, like this country is getting so crazy now. Like I'm seriously thinking about reconsidering my gun stance on owning them. Now I am a felon. I'm not supposed to own them, so if I ever do, I will be technically breaking the law. But shit's getting crazy.
oh well, man,
It's getting to the point you're gonna have to pretty much defend yourself, I think.
for me to actually get the gun, I had to be referenced by two people. I had to find someone with a certain amount of land who would actually allow me to shoot on their land. I then had to go and get reviewed by the police, and then the police had to actually come out to my house and inspect that I had a solid steel cabinet and it was bolted to the door, to a wall, a concrete wall, before I was even allowed to remove the guns from the gun shop to take them to my house. It's double checked up and down, left and right. To do background checks and everything, the whole lot on you here. Like,
That's what we need here. That's what I'm an advocate for. But
it is actually
yeah,
still. It's strange with the troubles that we have in Northern Ireland compared to the laws in England. My dad, being ex-army, knows guys from England that keep guns in Northern Ireland in the army bases because the laws over here are even more lax than in England. They're even more strict in England. You can get away with more guns in Northern Ireland than you can legally than you can in England.
yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, here you can pretty much anybody can get one somehow or another. I could probably get one. I haven't tried, but technically I'm not supposed to be able to. But I bet I could get one if I
But
wanted
whenever I
to.
reached a certain age and I started to, well, not show an interest in it, but if, dad's going out over the weekend shooting, you're like, where are you going, daddy? I'm going shooting. You can't really, you can't go to a certain age. But once I reached a certain age, he took me up to my granny's land and took me down with a shotgun. And the first thing he did was teach me gun safety. And even when I got my gun license, I did not fire either the air rifle or the shotgun until my dad came out and set the guns for me, double checked everything, and went through safety procedures with me. Like it's just common sense, in all honesty. This thing
Yeah.
can kill somebody. Don't be
Oh yeah.
fucking about with it.
And too many people, at least in this country, just don't do that. We get stories on the news every day. The statistics say here in America, you're more likely, yeah, your gun will kill one of your own children than somebody that's breaking into your house. So I mean, yeah, there's just so many statistics and numbers, and I am farther on the extreme side of that. I think most lefties here in the country are for gun rights still, but I'm just not.
Well,
It's easy for me not to be because I'm such a huge human being, I think.
my stepfather has also owned guns his entire life, lived in an even more rural place than we had. And when I arrived at my mum's the first night with the shotgun and the air rifle, we were sitting waiting on my father to arrive. And my stepfather came out and he went, let me see this thing, see if it's any good. And I was like, right, there you are, have a go. And he went up and he sat back from the target and I was like, you're too fucking close. And he was like, this thing doesn't look like much at all. And he shot it and it hit the wooden target and it shot back and hit him in the fucking shin. Now it's only a wee .22 pellet, it's a tiny wee thing, but it just shows that even if you know exactly what you're doing and have been around guns your 20 or 30 years, if you don't know the gun, you don't know what you're doing. If that had been an actual bullet in a metal frame, he could have been no shin, no fucking leg now, like.
Yeah, that sounds like something I'd do. I'd end up shooting my damn self. Be like Cheddar Bob, shoot myself in the dick.
Right, well, I'm going to try here and stick to my list of stuff that I did generally want to ask you, alright? I think we've got one of them. On a silly note, right? Something that is a pet peeve of mine, and I know it is really petty and semantic and all, but you say peoples instead of people. That annoys me. Can you tell me why you say that?
It's an old habit from talking about Native American tribes, the peoples. It comes from that. Yeah, it drives a lot of people crazy.
It drives my flipping head away every time you say it. Like, and I was like, he knows he's saying it.
I don't recognize when I'm doing it. And then I'll watch the stream back and I'm like, you got to stop saying it like that. But it's just, it's just something that's in me and I can't really control it.
Well, without the risk of, I don't know what way you would say, being racist, you look like a white guy.
I know.
What is your heritage? Like, are you 16 part Indian? Is it your granny's granny? Or I don't mean to be rude when I ask that, but it's just you.
I think the number is 32%. I'd have to look at the paper. It's 30. It's between 30 and 32%. It's not like an exact number. It's
Oh, well, that's a big chunk, man. No, 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 that's a big enough chunk. My granny, now I've never done a DNA test, but my granny did one a couple of months ago and it came back Irish, Scottish, and European. So that's pretty much me, and that's, if it was, I think it was like 6% other. But it was
I
mainly.
have enough. I have enough blood to actually get revenues from the tribe if I chose. I choose not to.
Yeah, well, the fact that you choose not to, I respect that, man, because, you know, it's a slight acknowledgement of the fact that I just said you look like a white guy.
Yeah, yeah. And I've been raised as a white dude. You know, like I didn't even find out about my Native American heritage until I was, I don't know, 22, 23 years old. It was the first time my mother ever spoke of it, and it was only because I had found the religion down south. Um, yeah, I mean, a fucking Cherokee came up to me and was like, "Yeah, you're Cherokee," and I'm like, fuck you, dude, I'm Irish."
Oh, no, see,
But
that's, yeah.
and my mom told us the story, you know, I've dug out the family roots, and we got registered. Shit, we were registered with Cherokee back when I was actually in the religion, so it was fairly quickly after I found out that I registered myself. So that was about 20 years ago, maybe. But yeah, I get that a lot from both sides. Native Americans are actually more racist about it than white people.
Yeah, it's like,
So
don't steal my plantation.
yeah, some accept me, but most most look at me like an ally, not an actual native person,
Yeah, well,
which
if
is
you,
probably more accurate.
yeah.
I am probably more of an ally than a true native.
Well, I've said
I
over
don't.
here on this channel before, over here, my daughter's considered a mongrel because I'm 6, 7 generations out of Scotland. I'm one of the invaders that came over to breed the Catholics out, and my girlfriend is from the Republic, one of the Catholics that used to fight back and do all that. So not only is our daughter a mongrel, she's also a symbol of the peace that's coming, hopefully.
It's my family. My Irish side of my family came over here a long time ago. It was, I mean, shit. They were over here in Revolution times. My native family actually, they broke off of the Trail of Tears. A lot of Cherokee did, and then made their own way, and slowly they landed in Tennessee, and then migrated. Some of them, half of that tribe that landed in Tennessee, migrated to Michigan.
And that's where you are now, isn't it? Michigan yourself.
Yep, yep, and that's where the clan is. They're that side of the family is Michigan and Tennessee. That's where we're at.
Well, I'm not fantastic on American geography. Obviously, I know the big places, like Washington and Florida. Oh, it's a state, sorry, Orlando and places like that. But
Yeah, Michigan is the little mitten in America. So if you find the little mitten, that's this piece of shit state that I live in.
the only other question I have on my list, man, that we've actually pretty much covered everything, is why and how did Matt Powell pick you? Because that's sort of how I found you, through Cirrus. I think, as you mentioned, you come on to Cirrus's channel. And
Yeah,
I remember you having a lot more hair then, or maybe a bigger beard. I can't remember.
yeah, I had a bigger beard, probably a little more hair.
But that's
It's
how I
it's
found you. If I remember correctly, that's how I found you. It was through Cirrus and the whole Matt Powell video, because they were doing the review of that, and you appeared one
yeah.
night on the review and were standing up for yourself, and I had no clue who you were. And to be genuinely honest, man, I would describe myself as a troll with a brain. But some of the statements, and you've admitted this yourself, some of the statements in the video were like, "Oh my goodness, why is he saying this?" And then you
Oh yeah,
come on, and
yeah,
I have gained more respect for you and a lot more. Obviously you're not who you are portrayed in that video. That was the whole fucking point.
yeah. He did a pretty good job with it.
Yeah, he
Um,
did.
he did a lot better than I thought he would. Like I walked into the movie like knowing like, all right, this dude is gonna just butcher everything I say. But I really wanted to have a confrontation with him on the homosexual thing because in our first conversation I had let it slide. So I really wanted to hammer him on that, and I did. But I walked into a movie situation knowing that he was gonna just make me look stupid. I did not think as many people would watch it as they did. So that was just a miscalculation on my part.
I think the
How
atheist
it all
movement, to
happened.
prove it
Say what?
wrong. I think the atheist movement, the atheist community, helped to prove it wrong. Actually, also
Yeah.
helped fuel, the
Oh
watching
yeah.
of it.
Yeah, that was definitely a good chunk of those views was the atheist community really debunking it, and then being introduced to me in the worst possible fucking scenario. So, but I mean it's a weird story. So Matt Powell um, first came, like people became aware of him because he made these really stupid video game comments. All atheists play video games in their grandma's basement, some shit like that. So the friendly atheist picked up on that story, and wrote a blog about it, and that went viral. And then Essence of Thought did a video about it, about Matt Powell and those remarks, and personal beef the Essence of Thought and Matt Powell had, because Matt Powell had started trolling Essence of Thought.
Yeah.
So as I'm watching Essence of Thought's video about Matt Powell and that beef and how Matt Powell started trolling Essence of Thought, Matt Powell did the same exact thing. As I'm watching that video, he starts trolling me in my comments of my videos.
Yes.
So yeah, he was clearly just roaming the internet trying to find atheists to start trolling and start back and forth with. So he's trolling me. I'm like, well, fuck you, dude. I'm gonna check out your channel and I'm gonna really go at you. I don't even know who you are. I made a couple videos challenging him, and then it turned out he lived in Michigan, so we met face to face, and that's kind of how it all started.
No, well, that would make sense. Obviously, if you live together, it makes everything a hell of a lot easier. Like, and plus the fact that he had editing control. Anybody can make anything. I have made some ridiculous statements on this channel purely out of to deliberately do it, just to give somebody the opportunity to fucking clip it. I was like, I fucking dare you to clip that and take the whole thing out of context. Anything you say can be taken out of context.
Well, yeah, and I pretty much had that whole conversation that Matt uses in the movie, uncut. There's one segment because he sabotaged my camera during that filming session, or his people did.
I remember you saying something about that, yes. You didn't get the original footage, or something wrong with the original footage.
Yeah. Well, they did something to my camera. So I there's one segment that I didn't get, but the rest of the segments I have on my channel all put together, uncut. So a lot of times people will approach me with just talking shit about Matt's movie and the things that I said, and then it happened just yesterday with a Christian in the comments. I link them the video. I'm like, go check that shit out, and they're usually their tone changes immediately. Yesterday was like, hey, thank you for the insight. This actually gives a lot of insight. I'm not going to troll you anymore. I thought that that happens a lot. So
again, I think that boils down to, it doesn't matter what the hell that Matt Powell actually believes in. It boils down to the person's character, the fact that they would lie and things like that. Well,
yeah, and that's the thing is, Matt Powell has atrocious beliefs. That's one thing, and you'd stand against him for that. But he's such a dishonest interlocutor. He's dishonest with every way he.
Just say it. He's a fucking asshole. Just say it. It's okay to swear here. He's a fucking asshole. Let's not use proper terms and all that. He's a bigot. He is many a thing.
Much more than that. Maybe Steven Anderson would be as deceitful, but I've never had that opportunity to have that conversation with him.
Was it you I was in the live chat when someone had him on a video the other day, and even just the shirt and tie he was wearing, and somebody made a joke about them buying them on sale in Sears. Not that I know what Sears is because I'm in Ireland, but even just the way he was, the shirt and tie even made me want to hit him. It was like, look at me trying to be because it was trying to put across that sort of 1950s pastor sort of, look at me, I'm prim or proper, I'm top of society, I am, what I am. Me and the girl, we were chilling last night, and the girlfriend, we used to take it movie choice back and forth. She can pick a movie, I can pick a movie, but I got fucking sick and tired of her picking movies because, in all honesty, they're useless, right? Now, I'm not going to be rude, right? But she'll pick a movie that she knows that she's going to enjoy, and I'll either fall asleep or get playing with my phone and mess about in Discord. Fuck that shit. I'm not going to pay attention. So I've now sort of taken over, and I pick a movie every week. But generally, when I pick a movie, we enjoy it. Last week we watched Israel J something. It's I can't remember the movie. It's Denzel Washington, and he's a lawyer with social problems. I think he's on the autistic scale. Israel J something. Chat, go do your moderation thing. It's a fantastic movie. Really, really good movie. Denzel Washington, obviously. And then this week I made her watch, just on the topic of what you're talking about with the South and the way people believe, we watched Mississippi Burning. Have you ever watched Mississippi Burning?
Oh, yeah, Good one. Yeah, that's a good movie.
Yeah, like 3 or 4 times she was like, they're not actually gonna fucking hang him, are they? And we were talking about it during the movie, and I was like, I don't know if this is based on actual true story, but I can guarantee you if it's not, it's based on true events. And then nearly enough at the end of it, it came up with a disclaimer: this isn't based on a true story, but these things did actually happen, you know. And it's
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. They happen all the time. They should still happen to a lesser degree when I was young in the South. We were clearly divided, black and white lines. The white kids fought the black kids. We weren't doing the absolute hate crimes they were doing back in the day. But yeah, it was still clearly segregated when I was growing up in the South. I think it's a lot better now, at least in some areas. But I could be wrong. I haven't been down there in a long time.
yeah, it's shocking, and it's not that long ago. It's only 70, 80 years, one generation ago that stuff was happening in America. I think.
Yeah, I get angry when people try to play it off like this was some ancient thing, and why are black people still mad about something that happened so long ago? I'm like, motherfucker, like their grandmother went through this shit.
Well, I may have mentioned this. I probably did in one of my after party drunken streams. But the last person ever to be hanged in Ireland, the reason that they were hung was that I'm not sure if they raped and murdered, but they definitely murdered a person from a wee small disco, like a wee like a wee, like in an orange hall, what we would have, like a wee community centre, and it was actually a friend of my granny. And only the fact that that guy fancied my granny's friend over fancying my granny, I mightn't even be here. And he was the last person ever to be hanged in Ireland. So that, like 2 steps away from a bit of fame there. But that's a true story. You can look it up, and it may dox me, but that's where my granny used to hang about. And that place is only about 5 or 6 miles from my mum's house.
Yeah, it's like scary. Like I think that America is slowly going back to that like ability. Like people think that I'm crazy when I say it, but like this whole Trump thing here in America, the way that Christian evangelicals are latching on to this man really scares me and makes me think that, hey, we might very well be close to Christian law back in this country, a lot closer than we've been in a long time. And that's just 2 heartbeats away from stoning people to death in town square again. So,
Well, I grew up in the troubles here. I've mentioned before, and I'll not go through it again. I'll link you a video, Knock, and you can go back and watch it with it. But I was encouraged as a from my mum and stuff, to being a Protestant, to go out and mix with Catholics, and I went to a Republican disco, and I had incidences. I got busted open, and my life was threatened. And then whenever that happened, I took my Catholic friends to my Protestant area where I grew up, and then the Protestant people burnt our little hut down to the ground with a carryout while they watched. So
see, that's crazy that beef is still going on. See,
well, it's not going on now, man. That was when I was growing up, and I can't remember their exact names, but both people on both the Catholic side and the Protestant side I have talked to since they've grown up and went, yeah, we were assholes when we were younger, and have bought me a pint, and we've made peace. Like,
last night Neil wanted me to come on his after show, and I couldn't because I was writing a script, and I'd just gotten home from work. I just started the script, was taking a little breather, saw that Neil was on, just popped in to hit a thumbs up.
yeah, I stole your spot.
Yeah, well, the script I'm writing is it's on the witch child, the Pendle witch child, and it's based on like early 1600 England, when England stopped being Catholic and started being wholly Protestant. And yeah, the Protestants back then actually considered the Catholics worse than witches. Like, and to hear that man, Protestants still hate fucking Catholics 300 years later, that's kind of crazy.
Not too long ago, there was an actual car bomb that went off in Londonderry, the city, in Northern Ireland, and
Like the whole
my
IRA
daughter and my girlfriend and the daughter were shopping in the town. They were less than a mile from when that bomb went off. Like,
You see, I've read a little bit about the IRA and the shit. Like, is that a Protestant Catholic conflict, or is that a political conflict? I'm not sure.
well, it's a political conflict, but it's split down the line of Protestant Catholic.
All right, I got you. Yeah, that's something that I've read a little bit. Some of the bombings in England back in the 80s, and I can't remember the guy's name, But yeah, it's something that I've always wanted to learn more about. I couldn't imagine living in it.
In all honesty, man, you do get used to it though. You see, that's as you're using as an example with Trump and what happens and the racism and things like that, we get also used to it as well. It's like, oh, there was a bomb in Belfast. Oh, right, that's dead on. There's guys. It's got to the point over here where BBC released a video, released an advert. In between TV shows, they had this advert, and it immediately got so many complaints it got taken down. But the whole point of it was to try and bring the community and show what's actually going on. But if somebody in the IRA or the UVF or the LVF has a problem with you for whatever reason, whatever you've done, they don't go looking for you. They go to your mother's house, they knock on your mother's door, and they tell your mother, this is where you have to be so you can get your knees shot in with a gun, or else we're going to kill him. And the advert actually showed from different points of view, the killer's point of view, the kneecapper's point of view, the boy's point of view, and the mother's point of view, from from their. And
Holy shit.
that sort of shit actually does happen. They go to the door, they knock on the door, and they're like, right, you can drive your son and drop him off here, and it gives them a chance to. The mother's there, takes him to hospital, gets him. It's a choice, man. I know I'm not trying to justify it, but when that shit's happening once, maybe twice a month, when it's really at its high peak, you sort of get used to shit like that, which is a bad thing. Don't get me wrong, it's a bad thing, but it's an extension of what you're talking about.
I think we're capable of getting used to just about anything. I think our instinct to survive kind of overtakes us, and we'll make the best of any situation. I think it's in us to do so.
I think it was 3 or 4 years ago now, maybe going back, I could be wrong in this, but the IRA, a group of young people, now I'm not going to put an age on them, but they're definitely not 30 and 40, because the people who are 30 and 40 and 50 are the people telling the younger kids what to do. They're sitting back and raking in, because it's became more of a money system over here now with selling drugs and things like that. And but they waited and watched this particular cop car stopped for its breakfast, stopped for its lunch at a particular petrol station with a deli counter every day for like a month or so. And they were there one day, and two young people, two middle, 20s or whatever the fuck they were. I can't remember who got done or if anyone ever got caught. But they popped out with AK-47s and just started drilling the fucking shit out of the petrol station. Like, this is recent as in within this last 5 years. It's definitely within this last 5 years, could possibly be within this last 3. And they just popped out with AKs and just started drilling, and if they had hit a petrol tank or anything like that, that's multiple people killed. And that particular petrol station is underneath the motorway bridge. Well, it's sort of off to, but if it had exploded, it definitely would have caused damage to the motorway bridge. Cars could have fallen. I exaggerate a wee bit, but it's not fucking.
Yeah.
I'm just used to it.
I think America is just now starting to get a bit of a taste of that kind of life. Like it's hard. I think it's always been hard for us to imagine life in a war-torn area or an area that's been affected by war, because America just never really has. But here recently, with all these school shootings, I think more and more people are starting to realize, that could very easily be us, and it's slowly starting to become us. And yeah, it seems like shit's just fucked up all over the world. I know that whole IRA thing where you're living, that's been going on forever.
Oh yeah. Ages and ages and ages and ages. Which
and now America's bogged down in a war that's been going on for 1,000 years now over in the Middle East. It's just like the world's fucked and always has been.
I know, they're trying to sort shit out, so he had to go and bomb somebody. Yeah. Just as a slight tangent on that, what is your views on Brexit then? Seeing as we're talking about this and the troubles and stuff, and because I have my own views on Brexit, and I have my own reasons for the way that I voted, and I get dog's bollocks abuse for it. But
yeah, I see. I look at it as a right wing thing. I think that a lot of propaganda went into it.
On both sides, I will agree.
Yeah, on both sides.
On both sides.
But I think that Brexit itself is this right-wing isolationism, fear-mongering. I don't quite understand the dynamics between the EU and Britain, but I tend to fall on the leftist side of it naturally. Naturally, I think I don't run away from the fact that I'm a lefty, and I tend to agree with the lefty side of things usually. I think that it's a bad move, but I don't live there and I don't fully understand it. So I try not to be like, my position is the position, because
you're standard left, you'll take the standard left Yeah,
That's
because
pretty
you don't
much
know.
it.
Well, no, that's fine. There's nothing wrong
Yeah.
with saying I don't know. That's fine. I personally did vote for Brexit. Now, considering that I live in Northern Ireland, and not that I was worried about the money or anything like that, or have any fears of, being invaded by foreigners or anything like that, but silly things that be implemented that we didn't have a choice of. If it had been made differently, that the EU would say, here's a law, and then we would look at it and say, right, yes or no. But like, I have a TV that I've used as an example before. I can't get a TV that has as bright as colours as it anymore because they've implemented an efficiency rule, which is fine for Mother Earth and better for the environment and all that there. But when you're watching a TV, I really want my blues to be blue and my greens to be green. And I
Yeah,
have the
that
same
would drive me
TV.
fucking crazy, honestly.
Yeah, I have two dogs, man, and my Hoover broke, and I couldn't get a Hoover as powerful as the Hoover I had before because EU law states that it has to be this, that, and the other. Now, they've done a workaround, and the new Hoover that I have is more powerful than the last one, which is fine. But whenever it broke and I had to go out and try and buy a Hoover, I couldn't get one to suck up the dog hairs just as much because it's not energy efficient. That annoyed the fucking tits of me. It took twice as long to Hoover the living room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, and that's the nuances of the argument that I'm just not aware of. How has living under the EU affected the people? So yeah, to where my position on Brexit is just clearly a political position from across the pond. Yeah, I try not to get into the argument of it or say one side is right and the other side is wrong because I don't live there and I haven't lived that experience. So,
Well,
I appreciate David Worley's experience, and yeah, now I'm appreciating your experience, and they're two different sides of it, but both make very good sense to me.
from a secondary point of view, a friend of mine's father lived in a place called Kilkeel, and her father and mother split up, so she spent the weekends with the dad. He went fishing. Kilkeel is a massive big place for fishing. When the new e-law came in about what was limiting about what they could fish, he then didn't catch as much fish, couldn't make as much money, and he had to support his new family. Sorry, I don't want to make that sound like an awful thing, but he had to support his new family and the previous family with my friend. He then couldn't because of the lack of what he was getting, so he then went and started working on oil rigs. So she went from seeing him once a week over the weekends to seeing him 2 days a month. So from a personal experience, and I know that's just a testimony and things can go different ways, but that's another reason from, not that I would, that's a reason behind it, but that's another personal experience, a wee nuance, as you would
Yeah.
call it. And living
No,
in
I do know, like I do believe in democracy. So I mean that's one argument I heard from Rationality Rules on Brexit that I really agreed with, is that whether propaganda was used or not in that initial vote, the people did vote for it. So I do think that you pretty much have to at least do it and try it, and then if it doesn't work, hold another referendum. But I do believe in following democracy. So even though I disagree with Brexit, I think it would be a worse move not to give the people what they voted for.
Yeah, I don't think another referendum would be the right way to go because the propaganda at the minute is
Yeah, not until
rife.
after you've tried it and it's failed at least.
Yeah, well, one of the other reasons which I've mentioned before is I live in Northern Ireland. I don't live in England. I don't live in what we would refer to colloquially
Mm.
as the mainland. And personally, for me, with the girlfriend that I have and her being a Catholic and always being grown up in this sort of thing, I want to encourage. Man, in the all honesty, I'm a Protestant and I shouldn't say this, but I've more in agreement with Sinn Féin, which is the political party of the IRA, than I would have in common with what would be the political side of the Protestants, because they're Bible thumping, can't have gay this, can't have drugs, can't have they're fucking awful. But a united Ireland is inevitable. It is inevitable. It'll probably be split, maybe not wise in government or anything like that, but it'll definitely be in provinces. We have our 6 counties of Ulster and then Ireland of theirs, but I think a united Ireland is definitely going to happen. I also know that everybody in this country fucking hates each other when it gets to a certain point, and I also know that everybody agrees over money. And if we had voted to leave, I believe that hopefully still, we will get special status, in air quotes, which will bring us more in line with the south of Ireland, and economically we can become one island. And then once people agree on money, we'll hopefully eventually agree on the cultural differences.
Yeah, you think, see, like I'm Irish and Native American, and I know so much about my Native American heritage, and I know hardly little about my Irish heritage. Like, that's just something. Just talking to you right now, I just realized I really need to study up on Irish history and my Irish heritage. I've spent so many years doing it with my Native American side, and I am predominantly Irish. My family, I think I still have family over in Ireland.
Well, as respectful as you are about not taking advantage of your ancestral roots, I take advantage of the Irish thing all the time. If someone asked me in the street, I would consider myself Northern Irish over Irish, but that's an entire conversation by itself. And
Yeah, see, I don't even know what area of Ireland my people came from. I know I just can't remember. It's in the family tree.
yeah, well, you see,
I need to
that's the
look at
thing,
that.
man. If I went back through my family tree, my actual surname is Scott, and well, my family traditional surname is Scott through my mother's line, and that's part of the original Scots line, and it's only 7 generations out of Scotland, so I would be mainly Scottish than I would be Irish, and I would be mainly Northern Irish than I would be over Irish. So I'm totally sponging off it.
I don't blame you. You got it. You got it. You got the accent for it.
But that's the on the Brexit thing. That's the point I'm trying to make. I hope that we end up. I hope that Ireland and Northern Ireland mesh, and England, Scotland, and Wales can go do their own thing. I personally don't care about them. I'm more worried about the fact that I don't want my daughter walking down the fucking street and a bomb going off. That's what's more important to me than some businessman making 6 million instead of 3 million. I
Yeah,
personally don't care about that.
I'm the same way with the school shootings over here. Like I'm lefty when it comes to guns, but at the same time, I'm willing for any right wing idea that's gonna stop shooters from shooting up my daughter's school and killing my daughter.
Yeah.
Like I'm all for that shit. So, whatever ideas it is, if it's teachers having guns, if it's armed guards, if it's ex-military in schools, I don't care. If it's gonna stop a shooter from killing my child, I'm for it.
Well, in saying
Yeah,
that, man, I did watch a BBC documentary where one of our news reporters went over and watched and actually got involved in one of them training sessions for the teachers. And one of the scenes that happened was a kid pulled a fake knife. Now, these are all blanks, and they're going through scenarios, but a kid pulled a fake gun in the canteen, and the teacher, by the instructor, was told to shoot them and put them down because it could be a real gun. Another situation was they went in and teachers running out through the hall. This teacher's running down with a gun, the instructor's behind them, and a kid comes, 2 kids, sorry, I think it was, or 1 kid, 2 kids, whatever it was, comes running out of the classroom. Now the teacher, this is their first session, they panic and shoot, killing 2 innocents. Right?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of and there's a lot of arguments against it. So yeah, I'm not completely like just
Yeah,
blinded.
no.
I'll accept any good idea,
This is the point. This is just
But
to finish. They went through
there
it.
there was a story like one
He
of
got a
the
pass.
black kids that got shot in Ohio a couple years back. Yeah, he had a play gun, and the police just rolled up on him within 30 seconds, shot him dead because they thought it was a real gun, and it was a toy.
Yeah, I think there was also an incident I seen of a woman from a Middle Eastern country that couldn't speak English, and she was out with a massive big kitchen knife cutting homegrown vegetables from her back garden, and the neighbour called them on the police on them, and the police came out and hit the woman with a fucking taser, and she's like 88, and they were telling her to put the knife down, put the knife down. She doesn't speak English. It's her daughter that lives there. She came over, and now lives with the daughter. She doesn't speak a word English, and they tasered this woman. She's like 80 something, and it's like,
Yeah.
man, she's fragile. She's not going to run at you with a fucking knife.
Yeah, it's funny, like, because I complain about the same shit here. Like, it really feels like here in America, the police force has more power than ever. They can use force just whenever they want. It really seems like we're more and more under a military state because the police force just have so much power over the citizenry, and it's interesting because you're across the world, you're in Ireland, and you pretty much feel like the same thing.
Yeah, well, I don't feel that my daughter's going to get shot up in school, but I'm afraid of her walking down the town and a bomb going off.
Yeah,
It's definitely similar, What,
mm,
it's just, as a phrase people would use over here, the squeaky wheel always gets heard. even though you could have fucking four wheels in a car, it's the squeaky one that gets heard. That one. It's the small minority making that loud noise and making their point across, but it's not what the genuine people on the street actually want. You know, we haven't had a government here for over 1,000 days. They're trying to sort things out and get back together, but they keep falling out over stupidest things. Like, it just makes no sense.
No government for 1,000 days. Holy shit.
Oh yeah.
You know, America freaks out if our government shuts down for like 2 weeks.
Oh no, the people just further down the chain got on with as best they could, but now it's got to the point where they're running out of money. You know, and we can't get more money without the government getting back in line and getting shit sorted. And the Catholic side say they're not going to make an agreement unless every child in school is taught the Irish language, and then the Protestant side is all, well, if that's the case, then they must learn Ulster Scots. And as a person who is an Ulster Scot, Ulster Scots is a slang. You know, the words that I say and the way that I talk would be referred to as Ulster Scots, but it's clearly English with some slang words in it. That's all it is. And I don't see why, instead of making, you know, like Scotland has their own language and Wales has their own language, you know, in school. It's taught in school. This is your language where you come from, so they teach it. But in Northern Ireland it's different because they want to teach Irish, and half the population consider themselves English or British, or you understand where I'm coming from? So
Oh yeah.
instead of making it mandatory, why don't they just set up funding, and when school closes at 3 o'clock, there's a class from 3 to 4. If anybody wants to attend, there's a teacher there, it's paid for, it's part of your curriculum, go for it. You know, why must it be forced?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, I agree.
And
I don't think anything should be forced.
Yeah, and we silly things like that. And recently we had a vote, and I personally, man, I didn't vote because there's not a single person that I would stand for. Not a single person. There's nobody that I would vote for. There's a comedian who I would vote for because every year when he gets his vote, he makes a joke about how he gets rid of it. Last year he fed it to a goat. The year before that he burned it in a steel bin outside his back garden and did a rain dance around it. You know, I would vote for him. But now the politics in this country is more... I know that you have left and right over there, but it's as, if not more, it's definitely as left and right here, but on more extreme situations, you know, and they're stupid.
Yeah.
It's just
Well, it seems
stupid.
like America is just now catching up with like maybe what some of the rest of the world has been dealing with when it comes to like the political parties being farther away from each other. You know, the extreme right, the extreme left being here in America definitely seems like we're catching up. I'm learning about like the problems Germany's been having with Nazis there. The white fascism that's been in the UK. Like, yeah, I've been learning a lot of shit, and it seems like we're catching up here.
Yeah, I have to say now, the right wing generally is bigger snowflakes than most, but when it comes to getting the fucking line and doing what you're told, if the man at the top comes out with a plan that works, they stick till it. The problem with us
They
is,
seem to be followers,
Yeah.
definitely.
yeah, they're definitely followers. The problem with us is we all want to be independent. I see an awful lot
Yeah,
of,
yeah. The left, we're not. We're all like fucking. We're all the leaders, and follow me. And they're like, bitch, follow me.
yeah. Well, it's not even that, but it's the fact that we would encourage free thought and critical thinking, that everybody has their own
Yeah.
opinion. And
I agree. Yeah, we want you thinking for yourself. Don't think like I do. Think it through for yourself and come to your own conclusion.
exactly. And then when you have somebody in power who is doing really, really well and they fuck up on one thing, everybody jumps on them and kicks them the fuck out, and you lose a voice. Where if that had happened in the Republican side or the Conservative side, they would have, depending on what it is. I know it doesn't depend on what them is right now at the minute in America. They'll back the fucking Republicans regardless. But it used to be that, you know, you'd need to kill your mother before they would kick you out.
Yeah,
For over
Yeah.
here, if you'd done anything, if you smoked a bit of weed behind the fucking bus stop, it would have been that the Democrats would have kicked you out. We have a higher standard, and because of that higher
yeah.
standard, it's, well, I don't mean to put conservatives down, but it's true. But because of our higher standard, it creates infighting, and it's not that we need to all get in line and pick this, that, and the other as the rules that we must adhere to and what we must follow, but we almost come to a consensus that there's an awful lot of snowflakes out there on the left that need to fucking wind their neck in, as we would call over here, man. If you're going to put yourself out there and criticize other people, I think you need to be open to criticism yourself. if you're going to shut people down for calling names and using right wing, as you would say, talking points, then even though the left wing or talking points are good, they're still talking points. And when you use them, I think you should be open to criticism as well to stop using them. There's certain phrases and comments and stuff when we've had, I don't like to use the word debate, but heated discussions here, that I've called both left and right out. I've called AR out. I've called Jill out. I'll call anyone out. If you keep repeating shit that I've heard 50 times on fucking 10 other channels, I ain't going to let you say it. I'm sick of it. The people on the left are sick of it. The people on the Christian side are sick of it. And I'm going off on a rant now. I'm going off on a rant.
No, no, like I think that there's definite legitimacy to what you were saying. Like, you know, the Democrats here are a perfect example. I'm not trying to justify his actions by any means, but Al Franken
That's exactly
had a couple
who I was
photos.
thinking in my head, man. I could not think of his name. That's it. But yeah, Al Franken was doing an awful lot of good.
A couple photos, you know, yeah, it was bad what he did, but you know, we kick him out. We hold our own to account. I feel like he deserved to be kicked out. But then the Republicans, you know, Trump had 18 counts of sexual harassment or assault. He had one actual legitimate allegation of rape from a 16-year-old girl as he was running for president. They all knew this, and they all still got behind this man. Not only elected him in, but just dismiss it every time it's brought up since he's been elected. That's the Republican versus the Democrat.
Yeah, that cowboy fella that used to feel up the wee girls when they were 16 when he was 33 and was banned from the mall. Roman, what do you call him? Began with an R.
Oh, yeah, Roy Moore.
Roy Moore, yeah. And there's talk of him maybe running again, or is that past? Or I heard that there was talk of him trying to run again. But that's what I'm saying, man, is you agree. They get behind their own. And when it comes to a certain point, not that I'm going to justify or say certain things are okay and certain things aren't, but you need to weigh out more, you know, not logically, but you need to weigh out the pros and cons. It's like, right, this person's doing so much good, and it's not getting line, but it's people need to stop being so much snowflakes on the left. I know they call out the right for being snowflakes, but there's still...
Oh no, I agree. Like, so when it comes to that, like on Discord, if I feel like you're being disingenuous and you're just trying to push my buttons, I'm actually trying to work on it and follow my own rules. I have kicked people out. But like on my channel, I have an open invitation, and me and Sokka have had dumpster fires on air and off air politically. I want people to come and argue their politics. I just want them to be genuine and actually be able to argue their politics and not just come with talking points. It's hard to get those people on. I did recently meet one. He's a pretty decent fellow on Modern Day Debate, but it's really been hard to get them to actually come on stream. It's really easy to get into keyboard battles with them, but I find those to be very disingenuous. I want to have at least a voice-to-voice conversation to where we can have a political discussion, and I can actually see if you know what you're talking about, or if you're just copying and pasting shit. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
You have to be genuine, and you have to be open to criticism. I agree with that you have to back your shit up. But I can't see someone on the right coming in and calling someone on the left a name, and then if someone, say we were having this on my channel or your channel and we're mainly left here, and then someone on the left calls someone on the right a name, and because that's a correct name, now don't get me wrong, the right is making a disingenuous name calling about the left, but the left is being accurate in what they're talking about. That's still the same thing in my opinion. It's still people calling names. It's still talking between the lines. And
well, I'm all for it. Like you know, that's one thing. Like, I get in trouble for calling people Nazis, but I'm sick of the right calling us socialist all the time. Like, Bernie Sanders isn't even a fucking socialist.
No.
He claims to be one because the right wing of America calls him one. I think it's a bad political move because he's not a fucking socialist. But yet we're socialists, and the minute I point out that, you know, you follow some really Nazi ass immigration policy, oh, I'm a dick. No, it's the same fucking thing, right?
Yeah, it's the same fucking thing. But that's the point I'm trying to make is you can't ban a right winger on your channel for doing something that somebody on your channel does as well. You have to be fair to everybody. And don't get me wrong, I like poking fucking holes at people. I had a doctor come in big cap, and was very much into capitalism. We were having a conversation, and he was a big fan of capitalism. And don't get me wrong, it has its needs, and we'll never get rid of it. And it does provide, a certain drive for people. But war also provides a drive for people. But that's a different tangent. But the point I'm trying to make is, I was going back and forth with him, and he turned to me and he goes, "And what are you, a socialist?" And I goes, "Well, I wouldn't say I'm a socialist, but the more I read Karl Marx, the more I agree with him." And he just looked at me.
I'm right there with you.
Looked me up and down and got the fuck into his car and drove off, man. He drove off. It was like, right, that's the end of that conversation. But that's...
No, but I completely agree. It was like a hypocritical moment at the end of my last year on my Discord. I didn't do it immediately when the guy disagreed with me. It came after a couple more days of being of triggering conversation before I banned the guy, and all of my mods jumped down my ass for it. And I've offered a public apology to the person, but at the same time, I was being a fucking snowflake. And that's one of the things, like when I restructured my Discord server, I made the rules so that didn't happen, and then I broke them. So yeah, I completely, I made them. I generally, as long as you're not coming in just with like hateful slurs, I really don't care. We have places for those debates. It's disingenuous trying to prod me that I need to be better with and not fucking flip out. But it should be better this year because I'm not drinking.
Well, just on the topic of honesty and things like that, Nok, I know this is your first time here and stuff like that, and people would see me in the chat, but we have had not face-to-face contact, but we've had VCs and we've been in chats and we've talked back and forth and stuff. And just on that topic, we've had interactions over the moderation. I think that our first real back and forth conversation was back in August of last year, whenever I sent you that message over something that happened on your channel. And it's good to see that a difference has happened. I did do a fucking rant, fuck everybody off, and then storm out of your server like a wee bitch girl throwing the dummy out of the pram. But I think it was deserved.
It was a place where it was stricter, and
I wouldn't went so far as saying it's an echo chamber, but would you have been open to the criticism that I would say it was a safe zone?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Definitely. And so and even now still we try to provide that in general, and then keep those the hard conversations and the debate chats and stuff like that. But even then, like I said, recently, it was end of last year, I broke my own rules. So that's something that, I'm looking at myself. I need to be more open to the other side's arguments, not get so triggered when I hear talking points, if I think I'm hearing a dog whistle, doesn't mean that they're intentionally giving me a dog whistle. So to stop throwing accusations and allowing the conversations to get heated up. After I left, it was a civil conversation. And when I came back, it wasn't. So, it's like, yeah, that's something that I'm working on. I do have it in the forefront for me personally, is if I'm going to call people a snowflake, not be a fucking snowflake myself.
That's one thing I wanted to ask you, man, is you are the raging atheist. Would you, maybe not so much now, like I'll freely admit before I even ask you the question, I've had anger problems when I was younger. My mother refers to it as, I'll not say the name because then I'll have said my first name and my fucking mother's name, but people know that that's the reference point to me, and the reason that my mother called it that is because there's blind fury, and the way she describes it as, when the anger kicks in, I'm blind. No matter what you say, no matter what you try and do, it happens.
Oh yeah.
I've punched. My mother has tried to calm me down one time when I was angry, and I've punched a concrete wall till I shattered the bones of my hand to prove that I was angry. It was like, leave me alone. That's the best thing you can do. But I try and find now that it's not that I think more like a fucking Vulcan or go down the route, but I would always try and remember the phrase that, what do you call him? Spock, logic dictates. I always try and remember that logic dictates, and try and work your way down that route, and not do a whole messenger thing as remove emotion and think of it this way. But I know you and him have problems. I've been through things in my life that, not that someone could say post-traumatic stress disorder, but I've implied some of the things that he does, and it's worked for me. But I'll not go so far as saying that I can cure everybody. I just know that my brain's wired that way. But yeah, I'm tangenting. I'm going off on a rant. I've had too many bongs. We've been going for about an hour and 20 minutes here, and I'm smoked out.
Yeah, no. So with Messenger, it's a weird relationship because I really want to like the guy. Like I I like the guy's intelligence, and I like the guy's how he sees the Bible. It's different. There's not too much judgment there. The PTSD thing, I think he stepped into something that he didn't want to step into.
And dug a hole.
Yeah, he dug himself a hole and refuses to get himself out of, and unfortunately for him, um, the whole there's a whole lot more dirt just being piled on top of that to where he's just never going to be able to climb out, because it was, to me, it still was a matter of his terminology, but the bigger issue was the attacking of certain people, for their traumas and for standing up against them for that. And he continues to do so. So like with Messenger, he really damages himself.
Well, if you've seen me, when Messenger makes certain comments, I've went and said to him, it's like, oh, you being passive aggressive there? And I'm like, no, I'm just saying it. I'm like, no, you are. No, just fucking stand up and just say it. And I do like John. I like John an awful lot. We spend...
Yeah, because, I mean, he's helped Marty as well. You know, Marty swears by him. And it's I don't think that he doesn't have the ability to help people. I just wish he would have used different terminology and he wouldn't attack people that have disagreed with him.
Yeah, well, them people that he has disagreements attacks him back, and I've been witness to both of them, and I've had conversations with other people that's been in your chats, and we've both agreed on both sides on different times. But the point I'm trying to make is they're as bad as each other. That's all I'm going to say.
I know AR and Messenger have had beef like way like since it all broke out on Cersei's channel, and it's been in a lot of chats. More so live chats than even what happened on my streams.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you there. I like AR. She has been on the stream. She has been on the stream a few times. You know, she was on with me and Jim Majors when we did that late night rap after. You know, we attacked Jill together, or Jillian, or whatever you want to call them. You know, so there's a lot of love there. But I want to point out that I've an awful lot of love and an awful lot of like for John as well. My mother watches a few of the streams that I would run, and she watched the one with John, and knowing what's going on in my background and stuff, she can see that, and she quite likes John as well. Not that my ma likes him, we must all like him, but she knows what's going on in my background, and a few people know my personal story, and the fact that I have applied things that are similar to him, to his ideas, before even meeting him, I can see where he's coming from. But I have been in the situation where I've tried to explain to friends of mine, look, if you did this, this, and this, and this is, like, they've came to me and went, how do you deal with that? And I'm like, well, this is what I do. And then they've tried to apply it. It doesn't work, because no two brains are alike. Some can be similar, and, you know, some can be very close, but no two brains are the same. And what works for one person may not work for the next person. And I think the fact that he went and made that claim, anybody who says I can do 100% of something, or I can cure all of this, I just have to find one thing that says you can't and you're wrong. And
exactly, and in our community, so in the skeptic community, you're stepping into very woo shit there, and that's something that the community fights against. So you're naturally gonna have people like Sirs the Skeptic who concentrates on woo shit. When Messenger Reveals comes into his chat talking about having a cure for PTSD, you're going to be combated immediely.
I would agree with you in that, man. Yeah. If you put it in a classification, what you do, there's certain people who put what he says and what he goes forth with, not regarding the Christianity, but on the whole, you know, trying to make yourself a better person thing that he does, you put him in the group and the category of woo, because papers say this don't work. And a lot of yous in the community, most of the people in the community, look at the paperwork, look at the data and go, that's bullshit, so I believe that. But then, just to put forth, you've people like myself, and you've people like, who did you say, Mary or Maynard? You know, swears by them. Who did you say 2 minutes ago said swears by them?
Oh, Maynard saves?
Yeah, Maynard, you know, swears by them as well, and stands up for them. And you've got the small amount of people in the community who have personal testimony, and we all know the personal testimony doesn't stand up in court and doesn't do this and that and the other, but personal testimony is still very, very powerful when you experience it, and it is an influence on yourself. And I do treat a lot of what I do down the stoicism route, which is what I made the comparison to him on the stream I had with him. I think a lot of what he promotes is stoicism and coping methods. I'm just more open to the terminology that it is stoicism and a coping method, not a cure for fucking PTSD. So I won't go so far to agree with him, as you say, in his terminology and what he uses. I can disagree with him on that, but I don't think he's a genuine bad person.
Yeah,
I don't
me
think it's
neither.
wool. I don't think it's wool.
I think he has like mental shit. So like my problem really with him isn't the claim. Like that's what we do on the channel. You come make a claim, we'll argue about it. It was the attacks, the attacks on AR's personal trauma, the attack on Lady Tasha, clearly being wrong about the complex PTSD issue, and sitting in a place of authority and being wrong about that, I think is really, really bad. But then all could have been good. Like I really think that if he would have just let it rest, that it would have been okay, and he could have gotten back on and had civilized conversations, not just my channel, but many channels. The problem is he just continues to attack some of these certain people. And I understand that they go at him too, but
he'll call me out for saying this. He'll call me out for saying this, and he'll deny it to the man dies. But he's as prideful as the rest of us. And
the thing about Messenger is the other night in his I can't remember what.
Did you watch the conversation with him and Jay? I think the conversation with him and Jay was very good. I'll send you the link to that. You should go.
No, I haven't seen that one. It was Richard Matson's stream the other night. So
yes, Jay was in there as well.
Yeah, it was after I put out my last stream about Messenger and everything that happened on the channel. So, Messenger's being nice to me. I was being nice back. The moment I left the chat, though, and my mods are still in the chat, so they saw it, and I knew about it as soon as he said it. The moment that I left the chat and started my stream, he accused me of being a liar. All right, so you was nice to me while I was there, but wait to call me a liar when I leave. I mean, that's the thing about Messenger.
Well, that's maybe because he did. Now, I'm just putting this out here as a hypothesis, but that's because he didn't want confrontation, because he hasn't plans to make a video. But when was that stream? Yesterday or the day before?
Yeah, it was like a couple of days ago.
A couple of days ago. Well, last week, whenever you released yours, me and him were talking, and he says he actually sent me a link to another channel that he has that he's trying to promote, and he's going to release a video on that channel rebuting what you said.
Well, yeah, we've been waiting on him to make a video on that channel about all of us for 6 months now, and he never did.
Yeah, well, no. Well, the point I'm trying to make is he didn't want to confront you there and then. I've had problems with people in the community back and forth. We've all fallen out with each other at some stage. None of us is fucking perfect. And I can personally say from my own, again, using personal experience, but, I've seen someone who I've had a problem with. I've then went and ranted to my friend for 2 days, figured out what I'm going to say, got my shit together, and then went to that person and said what I wanted to say without hurting their feelings, without coming across as an asshole. Because as a person who's been through anger problems, and yourself who understands anger problems, when you go into a row or you go into a discussion with someone when you're angry, you'll say things you don't mean. You'll be a fucking asshole. You'll go for the jugular. So it's best to go and rant to your friend who understands where you're coming from, and then console your thoughts, get yourself together and make your point. And I think maybe possibly what was happening. Not the fact that he didn't want to not start a row, but he didn't want the confrontation there and then, because he has plans in a video to put across.
Well, then why go out of your way to be nice to me and have a civil conversation and then publicly call me a liar after I leave? That's just cowardly. There's no real excuse for that.
I wouldn't say the word cowardly, but as I would say afraid of confrontation. And me personally trying to be Switzerland and that there, and I'm hopefully now in the new year trying to... Holy Spackle called me Switzerland. I don't want to be Switzerland. I'd like to be a platform where everybody can come to, but I'd like a little bit of raging atheist in me as well. I fucking blind. I showed the girlfriend that comment that I'm Switzerland, and she was like, "These people don't know you at all." And I'm like, "I know." I can throw a wobbly every now and again if I need to, but
yeah, I mean, ultimately, the way I feel about it, Messenger did it to himself. It's for me, I got sick of the conversation. I got sick that my channel became grounds for the cure for PTSD and for Messenger to attack people. And I don't have a problem with attacking people. I attack people all the time, but I'm not going to. I would never attack like a Christian's mental trauma. You know, like that would be something I think I would try to stay clear of. And I don't know. To me, it was that was my main issue with it. It's why I kicked him off the channel, is because he continued to do it and he didn't stop. And you know, like my thing is that, like, if I'm gonna think somebody's a liar, if I think somebody's lying about me, I would confront them. You know, Praise did it in Converse Contenders live chat the other day, and we actually had a civil conversation. And I've got an email waiting for me to respond to Praise, to where I'm actually going to go on his channel and talk to him. Right,
is
like
the same chat where Jay and Aaron Benton were giving it loads on each other.
I probably I was focused on Praise, but yeah, I do think Aaron and Jay were both there, and it was like, you know, it's not going to be some confrontation where I'm going to cuss you out and I'm going to ask you why you think I'm lying. Tell me why specifically you think I'm lying, and we'll have a conversation about it. But we can't do that if you're going to blow sunshine up my ass, and then knowing that I'm having a stream because Richard Mattson is going into the stream and he's no longer there to control his stream, you know, to wait till I'm gone and call me a liar. That's just, you know, that's not really avoiding confrontation.
In
but
saying that, I was talking to Richard.
Richard
was watching that the entire time and was in control. Everybody in the chat, I don't know if I'm going to get shouted at for this. Richard, he's in the chat, but Richard was watching the whole time. We all thought B was letting everybody in and out. No, Richard was watching in the background. Richard
probably, you know, yeah.
Richard
I mean,
puts
and he
himself
wasn't
down.
in my
Richard puts himself
stream
down
for
and
too
says
long.
he doesn't know technology and all that there. But Richard is a very quick learner, and once Richard gets the hang of it, he's fucking landed. You know.
And, you know, and
watches
if
the videos back
if
and
Messenger
watches the
Reveals wants to call me a liar, you know, I'd be more than willing to go onto a neutral ground and have that conversation with him.
Well, here is neutral.
Just don't be a bitch and do it to a public chat when I'm not around.
Well, I will put this forth now. If you two want to have a chat or anything like that, Sundays, Tuesdays, Thursdays. That's any night at 5 Eastern Standard. After that, I'm welcome. I'm definitely open to platform that. I'm running out of people to interview.
Yeah, I'd love to hear how he said that I'm lying, because I just gave my perspective. I think I laid out the case pretty clearly. I used him
as I put
against
across
himself.
to him, I don't know if I said it directly to him, but it was definitely in another live stream that I had the other day. I just think, right, and I'm going to say this to him when I talk to him next, and I'll say this to you, and John, if you're listening, this is out there. I just don't fucking want this shit to degrade to you're going to release a video, he's going to release a video, then you're going to release a video. Like,
no, I was pretty, I'm done with the guy. Like, he won't be on my channel at all anymore. I'm not going to do videos on him. You know, I wasn't going to do that one. The only reason I was is because in a chat that I was in, he attacked one of these people who wasn't there attacking him, you know, but chose to attack her by name. And it was like, you know, it's still going on. Fuck this. It's time to put out what happened on the channel. And I put it out. Like, there's no lying involved.
I understand.
I give commentary,
involved, but one could argue there's tribalism. You know, you're obviously going to stick up for your friends. He's going to stick up for himself, and I don't want the thing to degrade to a fucking video fest. That's
man. It already did. It's
well. I'm
I
putting it forth now out there. I also said this in the comment section in one of my videos earlier. Carlton, who I've had on before, made a comment about Dry Apologist. Dry Apologist said that he was open to a discussion with them. I will definitely platform Carlton and Dry Apologist having a back and forth. And the same again, I will jump in, and I'll jump in on the fucking two years. I'll jump in on John as much as I'll jump in on you. I do try.
Yeah, if Messenger wants to come in, any neutral platform, but this would be as good as any, in my opinion. I'd be willing to have that conversation.
It was mentioned here. I'm claiming exclusivity. Exclusivity.
It can only happen on Mathpig now. So if you guys in the chat want to see it, pressure. Because I don't care. Like, I'll talk to anybody. I stand by my convictions. You know, I make mistakes and I admit it when I do.
Yeah, I have to say, man, I appreciate you coming on, just on the fact that you'll talk to anybody. You come on and you've talked to me for an hour and a half, and you know, I have an awful lot of
you've been a good supporter of the channel, but not only that, you know, you're good people, man. You know, getting to know you. I think we fall in line. It probably agree on 85% of the shit, and I think that's pretty good enough for me.
Oh no, I would agree with you in that, man. I have, Oh, right. We'll go for it. I'll just say, yeah, I always speak my mind. There's no point in holding back. I have more respect for you than I have for the people who would help run your channel. And I know it's your channel, and I worry sometimes that when you designate power to other people, it loses the channel identity because other people are stepping in. I know it's a whole phrase of, it's my channel, I'll do everything. But the same with the Discord and things like that. I find that especially a Discord should be a representation of the person. And I don't think that your server's a representation of you. Now, it's not a bad representation, and it's a very good atmosphere, and people are friendly and stuff like that. But every server should be a representation of the person, and I find that the more that you delegate to other people, the more that it loses who you are. And I have more respect for you when you take control and you put your fucking stamp down and your foot down, because at the end of the day, you're the boss man. And
Well, yeah, but I think that's because it's the persona on YouTube. Like when people like really really know me, I'm actually a peacemaker. I really, I challenge bad ideas and I challenge Christianity mainly, but I'm really kind of a softie. To where I did put my foot down when it came to Discord because I want both. I want a safe space to where community can be community and you just get along. And then I want spaces to where it can become a shitstorm. Now, since we created those spaces, we haven't really had any shitstorms. But that'll change. But I think the Discord server actually more reflects the person that I really am. Because YouTube just gets a lot of, especially when it comes to the edited videos, it gets a lot of rage.
Well, I can't remember exactly who it was. Tony will help me out here, but there was a certain person in the modern day debate server that we've recently set up, and they got a warning by the bot because of a designated word that they weren't allowed to say, and because of that the message automatically got deleted, and they got a warning message going another 2 and you're fucked and all this here. I only added 2 words to the list, which is the R word and the N word. I think that's the only words that can be used in no other way but derogatory. There's certain words you can say which people can take the wrong way, but can be said in context and not mean what they mean, if you know what I mean. But there's the R word and there's the N word. And this other word, which I'll say now, which was bastard. Bastard was blocked. I didn't fucking add that, and someone got a flag for that. That's a bit much in my opinion. I can understand it can be offensive, but it can also be used in a slang term, if you understand what I'm saying. But the other 2 words, there's no other way of using them.
I use bastard all the time.
Yeah.
I say it all the time.
Yeah. There's no other way of saying the other 2 words without being derogatory. They're like, it's not, people say, oh, define a bad word. I'm not going to go down the route of defining a bad word, but in context.
Yeah. Some of our rules, well, the main rule that I think has been the most controversial is the rule talking about calling religion a mental illness, delusional. I think that rule came from me taking a direct stance in the community on my stance on that issue. And I think it does reflect me because I'm coming down on the line. Like for one, I want my channel to become more about conversation again, but positive conversation. And I think that the Discord server, now that we're really ready for it to be promoted again, I've got a really good moderator staff now, a blend of everything. I think it's ready to really bring people back in and become a place for those debates and for the hard discussions, because I love hard discussions. That's what I'm about. But I'm also about, and I have been for the last year since I started live streaming, about building a community, building a foundation of allies, having a place to where we can just be chill and not have the bullshit that goes on in the channel.
Yeah.
So finding that fine line is going to be something, but I think we're ready now. I think the server's ready now.
I'll credit One Way where One Way is due. Sometimes he's not right that Picard's a better captain in Star Trek than Cisco, but he used the analogy one time of an Irish pub pool room. And that's sort of what I'm aiming here for. Somewhere in a wee pool room in the back of an Irish pub where everybody can come, everybody can have the crack, everybody can have the meaning of life conversations. But when you've had too much to drink and some bastards stole your, your black ball or your 8 ball or whatever the fuck you
Yeah,
Americans
yeah.
call
I
your
think
turn.
that's what I'm aiming for.
You
Is
can turn
you can
around and
have
call
that
the
raging
ball.
atheist part,
Yeah.
and then we also have the everybody gets along part as well.
Would you mind for the last? We'll open it up for a wee while, man. I know we've got you for 3 hours.
Oh
Jason,
yeah.
we've got you for loads more time if that's good. We've got Jay
Yeah,
passing
we
me.
can. I can go for about another hour before I need to get set up with Ali.
Perfect. And we
Yeah, all
shout
I
out
got
to
to really
Ali.
do
Thank
is
you
throw
very
my daughter
much.
in the bath.
Yeah, we shout out for Ali and Maynard Saves and Richard and Gio, and Gio knows that I've had some problems back and forth with him, but he knows I love him. I fucked him from a height and called him many a thing, but we are still friends, and that's what I'm aiming for, to try and build a base where you get a conversation and you can have an understanding between each
Oh yeah,
other.
yeah.
So when someone
Jay's been in
says,
a lot of my older streams. He needs to get back in on. We're gonna be having those types of streams again, conversation streams.
well, one other thing, Knock, whenever we're finished here, or Tony will do it now because Tony's he's got fucking access everywhere. He's like trying to be Skynet, but he's my little
Yeah,
Padawan. I'm
Tony's
teaching.
the ghost in the machine of Discord.
Yeah, I'm trying to teach Tony everything I know. I've still got a few secrets. I've brought him into my basic server that I use for cloning, and the only real comment he has is, "Why is my role lower than the bots?" Take your position, Tony. Fucking learn. The bots know more than you right now. But anyway, Tony, could you DM me a link for Noks Discord if that's all right? It's the only thing I couldn't get to put in the description. All links are in the description for Noks channel, my channel, and Patreon, and all that bollocks. I'm trying to get a new camera. If we can get a new camera, you'll see more of my face. But if anyone who's seen me on camera, my camera auto focuses, regardless of what settings. It cost me 40 quid. So, we're trying
Yeah,
to get
I'm gonna be getting a new webcam like for these things, not my edited videos, when I get my new computer in March. So yeah, I got like 2 months and shit's gonna get like better.
Yeah, I'm trying to aim for that as well. And the fact I can keep that wee camera whenever I do gaming streams, I can have it, because there's only a tiny little itsy bitsy version of you in the top corner. I do gaming streams the odd time with a Quiplash, and I've played 2 other games once a piece, but I do actually want to play The Evil Within. It's quite funny. Same guys who made Resident Evil running around a zombie place killing people. But right, I'm gonna find the link. Knock, if you want to do a wee 2-minute chill about your channel, what you've got coming up in the next week, what you've got planned, and I'll post the link in. I'll get the link and do something with that, and you chill yourself for a minute.
All right, yeah. So if you want to come in, let Mathpig know. I'll be here until about 7:30. But what I'm going to be doing, like I'm getting back to work 2020. The edited videos will start coming out again soon. I've got one finished now. I am almost completely done with the script that I was working on last night on the Pendle Witch Child. Me and Ali are working on our first Film Crusade video on Star Wars and latent Christian themes in that series. And then outside of that, it's just going to be conversations. Me and Ali are really trying to organize our show. John should be getting back to work. I'm going to be getting a hold of John, and really wanting to try to get back to the conversations. I like the direction me and Ali have went with the serious, deep conversations. I want to try to get new Christians on. I've spoken to Raw Matt and Jungle Jargon about coming on, and they're open. I'm going to be going on Praise's channel soon. I got to email him back, and we're going to have our confrontation face to face, because that's what I'm about. Outside of that, not much. Just getting ready for 2020.
No, that's
Hopefully,
cool.
I'm going to be on a lot of big shows this year. That's what I'm aiming on, being on big shows and getting big people on mine.
Yeah. Speaking of big shows, literally the Geek Room just turned up. Thank you very much for calling in.
Yeah,
the
what
Geek
up,
Room.
Geek Room? Yeah, I had fun. I had fun on their show.
I worry about going on other people's shows because I'm not that very entertaining, which is why I get people on my shows. I don't find that my story's very entertaining.
The hardest one for me so far was the Utah Outcast, and it was just because they start so late and they're 3 hours behind me. that I literally was up all fucking night. So in the middle of the night, I had to try to be alive and awake. And I guess I did good enough because X wants me to come back on at some point.
Yeah, well, that's what
But
I'm doing with fucking Neil, having to book the next day off work and all. Like, it is a plan because, I'm 5 hours ahead of the East Coast. So, like, right
yeah,
now
yeah,
here,
it's like
it's
David
quarter to
Worley
12.
or anybody in the UK. I think they're like 6 hours ahead of me. So yeah, like the whole time zone thing just really sucks ass when it comes to trying to schedule YouTube shit.
Yeah, I know. I really, because the way it works, I've mentioned before, the girlfriend and the daughter live apart from me. They come up on a Friday and they stay to Sunday. But once a month, I would go to the girlfriend's house and spend the weekend with hers. But it means that Friday I'm off, and it's only once a month that I would have got to get to the Sci Strike movie nights. Do you remember Sci Strike? Quite recently, it was awful sad he passed away.
I'm not sure who was it.
Sci Strike. Friday night movie nights, they used to put on movie streams with Diana and a few other people and just laugh at flat earthers for 4 or 5 hours and get drunk. It would run for
No,
hours.
I never thought. I don't think I ever saw it.
It was amazing, and I could only drop in for once or twice. Once a month, maybe twice a month if I was pushing my luck, because I would stay up on a Friday night for it because the girlfriend and the daughter wasn't here. But it's one of those things, as you say, with time zones. Remember Sammy Jenkins, who can't make it now? He's in Australia, so he's probably sleeping, and me and him would be good mates. And then I put him in contact with Easism Works on YouTube, and he does artwork. So they wanted to, can you ask Easism to do me an icon? And I was like, yeah, no bother. He's in California. So trying to get them to communicate between California and fucking Australia was awful. Once I was a hub in the middle. It was.
Yeah, that's. I've had a hard enough time doing it, and I can only imagine if your whole show was trying to get people together onto a stream.
Just sorry to interrupt you there, Knock. Tony, I'm limited on what I can do here with the multiple screens. I sent you the StreamYard links to post in the live chat. I can't at the minute because I'm logged in as Mathpig too. So if you could do that for me in the live chat. I'm not inviting you in. You're boring. You're playing poker. If you can just post it in the chat. I'm only using you for your skills, man. The link is also in the Pigsty Discord server in the channel under links for live streams. If anybody wants to join in, the link's there. They can come in.
I could probably. I think I'm still in Discord. So yeah, I'm a mod. I could probably put it in there.
Yeah, see, if I try to bring up the screen, then it'll actually appear over my icon and your icon. I so need a third screen. This two screen shit's not good. And I thought it was good with a laptop. Then I got one screen. Then I ended up with two screens. Now you need three. Thank you, Raging Atheist.
Yeah.
Tony, you're too slow.
Yeah, I get.
You had it like 10
I need
minutes
to have two screens.
Oh man, you'll find out when you get two, you'll need three.
Yeah.
When I was doing the Quiplash video the other night, right, and I'm not joking you, because I, excuse me, because I'm producing it and I'm screen grabbing, I can't use multiple tabs, because it would chop and change over the screen. So I had the two screens going, one with OBS, one with the StreamYards Hangout. I had the laptop open for the live chat, and then I had my mobile phone going for the Quiplash questions. It was like, fuck this shit. I need a third screen.
Yeah. The Quiplash shit. I think that's what we played with Alliant last Saturday night. Yeah, the whole using the phone thing is difficult for me.
Well, you can do it with multiple tabs. If you have it on your phone or on your computer, you can do it with multiple tabs. Some people prefer their phone. I prefer Discord on my phone than Discord on the computer. Some people prefer it the other way around, but it's just what you're used to. But the link is in the chat. Thanks, Tony. I said, remember Sammy Jenkins, and he arrives. The wee cunt must have been lurking. But yeah, the link's there if anybody wants to join in. Sammy, you know I love you, but if you're jumping in while you're driving from workplace to workplace and your connection's as good as it usually is, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I got about 45 minutes, so yeah, come on in and let's talk. I do need to get my daughter in the bath, though, and
Yeah, I
do
bought
her
a new
whole dinner
bath for
shot
my
thing.
house and I haven't got a chance to get the daughter in and try it out yet. And it's like, this is not fair. I've bought her bubble bath because, as I say, we live apart and the girlfriend's always like, oh, well, I bathed her yesterday or I bathed her the other day. And it's like, I got a new bath. I've got a new mat so she can't slip and I've bought Peppa Pig bubble bath. Come on now. Like, oh.
Hmm.
My daughter's my world, man. I know you understand. Like, but I used to hate them dads. Are you one of these dads now as well? I used to hate them fathers that would be here. Have you seen the pictures of my daughter? And then breaks out the wallet with like 60 pictures in it. I used to hate them people. I'm so that person right now. Like,
No, no, I've never actually had a picture in any wallet in my entire life, I don't think.
well, we now use our mobile phones. I don't use my wallet, but you know, if I have a conversation, if a
No,
parent,
yeah, I guess sometimes, but yeah, not very often. I don't, if somebody asks if I have a picture of my daughter, I'll show them one, but yeah,
oh,
usually I don't.
I'm super proud of my daughter. She goes further than having ginger hair to what I call sunburst orange. It's so ginger. It's fantastic, man. Follow me back on Twitter. I put a picture up the day. I think it was Tug tweeted me and he was like, will you go live? I'm bored. And I was making lasagna with the daughter and posted a wee video of the daughter helping me with the lasagna. And she knows one hand on the bench and one hand on the spoon so she doesn't burn herself. She's very, very good. And she's taking the mushrooms, putting them in the saucepan and stirring and stuff. And oh man, she'll only be 3 in February. Her speech is coming on great. She's already tried to steal the keys to the car and we found her trying to drive off in the car.
Holy shit.
Oh yeah, I got a kicking for that. I got absolutely battered for that. But
That's fucking funny.
oh, it's so funny, man. She was knowing the kids go quiet. You know, like what's happening? They're quiet, and we were at my mum's, and my mum's garden's all in the garage or the yard's all enclosed and stuff like. And I was like, right, she must be outside because she loves outside. She's not one for computers or screens. She's like, oh, outside, daddy. And I walked out the back door and there she is in the front seat of my woman's car with the keys in the ignition, waving at me, dooting the horn, trying to stretch down to reach the pedals. It's like, get the hell out of that car now. Oh, but yeah, no, that's my rant about how
Yeah.
much I love my daughter.
Yeah, yeah, my daughter, she's just chill, man. She's always on her damn phone, into her shit. It's she's a lot like me. She's a technology girl.
Oh, well, I like
Always got her
technology.
headphones on.
Yeah, technology's good, man. I obviously use an awful lot of it here, and I splashed out in the computer when I made the decision that I was going to start streaming. I spent like $1,000 on my computer and got it all kitted out and like future proofed and all that sort of stuff. Like technology is good, and I'm hoping to build a house in the next year or two, and I will build it with self sustainability incorporated. And I'm not going to worry about fucking concrete and the carbon footprint, but I'm going to build it with saving money and being self-sustainable and solar panels, wind power and all that crack. Technology is good, don't get me wrong, but when you're 3 and 4, you should be playing with toys. You shouldn't be sitting in front of a screen.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with that. Yeah, yeah, I was always making my daughter play at that age. I think yeah, it's healthy. She's 10 now, so yeah, she's all into the BFF thing and TikTok. I absolutely hate TikTok.
Yeah, no, yeah, no, that's definitely my girlfriend's brother, which would be now, well, future brother-in-law. His wee girl's about 10, and she is nagging him for TikTok, and he will not let her have it. And I've seen some things about it over here in the UK and stories and stuff. And no, man, I don't think TikTok, especially for a girl. And I know some people may think that's sexist and the world should be free and all that there, but no woman out there was ever a 10-year-old or 12-year-old man or 12-year-old boy. And, it's...
Yeah, I don't like it at all.
Yeah, we all know
Trying
what
to
we
get her
were
away
like.
from it.
I'm not going to make any land statements, but boys aren't great when the hormones are starting to find them places, and TikTok
Yeah.
is not someone that should be given an opportunity for girls of a 12 and 13 age to be putting themselves on the internet. It's far too young.
Yeah, no, I never even looked at it until she started doing it, and I'm like, oh, what the hell is this shit? And yeah, I don't like it, so I'm trying to get her away from it. I think she's starting to.
Yeah,
She
bought
wants to
mine a
do
boiler
YouTube
suit.
now, and I'm like, with the COPPA shit, I'm like, oh, you're not doing YouTube yet.
Yeah, I bought mine a boiler suit, and when my one, before my wee girl was born, I bought a 1984 classic car, so I had something to build with my firstborn. So I'm gonna have her outside under a bonnet learning cars. She comes spins for me in my ST. She loves speed. She's more comfortable with my driving at 90 mile an hour than my fucking girlfriend is. It's hilarious. She puts her arms in the air and goes, "Wee, daddy!" It's fucking brilliant.
Yeah. That's the kind of like kid I was, man. I think I got in trouble when I was 5 for trying to take the family car.
I actually lost my license before I got my license. I was banned for a year before I got my license. I was
Shit,
driving
I didn't
through.
have a license for like 17 years. I mean, I just walked and
I had my first car at like
did
15 or
everything walking.
16, man. We all chipped in and bought a car between us for like 15, 20 quid, a wee white Escort. All about the Fords, man. Love me Fords. Right, just a shout out, Richard. We've put the chat in. You said you were going to jump in. We've put the link for anyone that wants to come into the chat. We've only got knocked for another 30 minutes or so. Me and Ard's the only person that's come back and said they're having a ribeye steak, so they have an excuse. What's your excuse, Richard?
Yeah, the ribeye is a good excuse.
It depends on the steak, man. I'm sort of getting bored with it. It's not that I'm getting not bored with the steak, but I'm a wee bit conscious now, hitting 36 and coming to 40. You can't. I'm trying to eat a wee bit more chicken, and
Me too. Yeah, I don't eat much steak anymore.
Yeah, save
I
it for
enjoy it every
the.
once in a while, but it's mainly chicken and fish now.
Yeah, I'm not a big fish fan now. I don't like fish that much unless it's actually properly battered with some chips and peas. But that's a cultural thing. But I'm not a fish fan. But yeah, I definitely agree with you in the chicken. I eat an awful lot more chicken and lean meats and stuff. I'm aiming to lose a stone. I've lost a half a stone, which is good. So when you get to a certain age, you just sort of, it's one of those things you have to do, don't you?
Yeah. It's definitely the main concern for me this year is my health, getting back into shape. Quitting some of these vices I have, drinking, and then once which I'm pretty good. I feel good. It's been 5 days. No physical reactions, surprising. But once I'm comfortable with that, then I'm gonna really, really dedicate myself to quit smoking cigarettes and exercise and all that good stuff. That's the focus for me this year, even above all the YouTube shit and the work shit. My kid shit is getting both of us healthier.
Yeah, well, I would eat healthy enough. Like, I try not to eat as many processed foods and vegetables. Like, I'm one of those old-fashioned people over here that you need a meat, two veg, and a spud. That's she always sort. I eat an awful lot of raw vegetables and things like that, and stir fries and wraps, and my vegetables is quite good. My cholesterol's low and stuff like that. I do need to run a wee bit more, but that's the smoking, as you say, man. The smoking
Yeah.
does kill you, like.
And that's one thing I'm not going to be able to do. I got fucked up legs. I would love to be able to start running again like I did when I played sports way like a lifetime ago. But yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to have to get cardio, probably mainly from walking, because I don't think my legs would support the running.
I did the bike. I never liked the running. I used to go to the gym three
Yeah,
times a
maybe
week, and
like
then I
a
broke
bike.
my hand. Remember, I discussed with you earlier about the anger and breaking my hand and stuff. So,
Yeah. Oh yeah, I
uh,
completely understood that shit. I used to do the same thing. I talked about it in the self-harm stream.
yeah,
Yeah, I definitely do have bouts of rage and actual real anger. So
yeah. Well, I
it
ended up, well,
does
not due to
happen.
that, but due to something else, which I put down to the fact that was weakened because of what I talked to you about. I ended up with a steel pin in my hand, and with the
Oh yeah,
NHS, don't get me wrong, the NHS did put a pin in my hand. They compensated me for all the messing about and the fact that it took close to 3 years, but I didn't have to pay a penny, and I got a wee bit of money out of it because they admitted that they took too long. So the NHS is good for that. It did take 3 years in and out of casts, and they fucked up and they did make mistakes, but it didn't make me homeless, you know.
yeah.
Like, I got 3 MRIs. How much is an MRI for you over there?
Oh man, I don't even know. Some astronomical number that you wouldn't believe if you saw it.
Yeah, every time I went to the hospital, I got an X-ray because they checked on me in an X-ray, and 3 times or twice, 2, 3 times, they went and got an MRI. Jesus Christ, my alarm on the fucking radio that's just sitting beside me randomly just went off for some strange reason.
It's
But no,
for
the
me that would
NHS
be like
hasn't.
a reminder. It's time to smoke a bowl.
No, what happened was the light bulb blew yesterday and tripped the switch because we have fuses and everything here. So if a light bulb blows with too much of an electrical surge, it trips all the lights, all the sockets, everything in the house, and the electric died. So that killed the clock, and it's probably reset the alarm. That's it is. Yeah, it's 12 o'clock. It's reset the alarm for 12 o'clock. It's flashing 12. You see.
Do you mean you don't have trip switches?
Oh no, I just tripped it back on again yesterday the moment that it happened, but that's why it's 12 o'clock. It's flashing 12.
Yeah, mine does that.
Yeah. Rory, thank you very much for jumping on. Rory is a regular viewer of my channel. He pretended to be Nigel Farage one night. He is also the funniest, one of the funniest You're Watching Math. Do you know, Rory, do you know that You're Watching Mathpig, which I hope I can get you to do later, Nok, just when we go off stream. I'm trying to collect a few just to annoy Moon Planet. But
I can always get Nigel Farage on again if you want that thing, no problem.
Well, Rory, I have one Patreon, okay? Just the one. And access to Patreon gets you funny videos, and I have sent them that recording of you as one of my Patreon gifts of you.
Oh, no!
Yeah, you were singing You're Watching Mathpig for 2 lines. It is one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. So get Patreon access, yeah. Patreon access, you get to see Rory singing my name. It's hilarious.
I do have a brief question for Mr.
Of course, go on
Major
ahead.
Yates.
Yes, go on ahead.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Well, strange enough, I woke up this morning and early, and there was. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
And I was watching the World at War. You know that series, that old BBC, I think, series.
I don't know it, and you may be showing your age, and I know that Nok definitely doesn't know it.
Well, anyway, it was about the war in the Pacific in World War II, and they showed this video, and on it was my wife's second cousin, once removed, who was a chaplain in the United States Navy during all the battles, going from Tarawa to Iwo Jima and all that lot. And apparently he became known as Father Foxhole.
And your question is?
All right. I think I'm following.
And can you hear me still?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we can hear you. We can hear you. Go on
Oh,
ahead.
okay. Sorry about that. And then so I looked it up, and I came across an expression that said, "There are no atheists in foxholes." And apparently, this started. Have you heard about that one?
I've heard the phrase before. Yeah.
Basically, it's if your death is facing you, an atheist will pray to God and become religious. It's I've heard it quite a bit.
I mean, I thought it was a ridiculous statement myself, personally.
I've heard it many a time.
Yeah, it is a ridiculous statement. Like I'm sure that some atheists, maybe if faced with death, might cover all bets, right? Like, but I don't think you just stop believing what you believed in just because you're facing death. And I think that most of us, like I know, for me personally, death doesn't really affect me like it does other people. Like for me, it's just a natural stage of life. It's something that we're gonna do. Even when my mother died, I wasn't very emotional over it. They wanted to be emotional, and they're the ones that thought that she was going to live forever. But yeah, I've heard that a lot. It's a term that Christians like to use, basically saying that we're not really atheists.
Yep.
That we just pretty much pretend not to believe in God.
It was the first time I came across it, and apparently it did start in 1942 or something during the Second World War. Either what a stupid thing to say, you know?
Yeah, yeah, and it's a demonizing tactic. It's one of the things, people ask me, why are you so harsh against Christianity? And I'm like, well, because Christianity has been so harsh against people like me forever. To get respect, you got to give respect,
Yeah,
and
you give it to get.
I give what I get.
Yeah.
So, they don't like it when the shoe is on the other hand and you throw it back at them, and that's why Jill and Praise and all them get so outraged by me.
Quoquely karma is a good. Sorry, quoquely just says quoquely karma is not something that I would live by, but you do, as you say, knock. You get what you give. If you're an asshole to people, you're going to be people are going to be an asshole to you.
Yeah.
It boils down
Yeah,
to
and
your
it's
character.
I do try to tolerate people being an asshole to me because I understand that that's my nature. So I do take it to a certain extent. Like
Yeah, I accept people for their flaws because I know that I am flawed.
yeah, yeah, it drives Tony crazy because I'll go and unblock everybody and they're like, "Why are you doing that?" And I'm like, "It's because I want to keep giving them chances to come in correct,
Yeah, me and Tony,
and
me and
I'm
Tony have
not an
lots of
asshole too
talks.
much. I'm a peacemaker. Even Jill, one of these days, like I would really hope that Jill would just sit down and talk to a woman, and maybe we can have some progress
You
and
said that
move
word
on.
though. That's the one word that's not allowed in this channel. It's the person who shall not be named, and the only person who is banned from this channel. He is the only person banned from this
Yeah.
channel.
Well, I
And
think, and technically, because I have been considered, praise was for a minute, but I mean, if Jay can be cool with praise, I can be cool with praise.
I'll never unblock Jill. I give Jill multiple chances. I brought in possible, I give him a platform and everything. We sat, we waited. I left the link open for over 3 hours, and then he called me a coward. And I was like, well, fuck you. Went off on a
Yeah,
rant, lost my rag, did a whole raging atheist thing. And no,
he has that effect on
doesn't
people.
he? Doesn't he? Oh, let's not. No, person who shall not be named. Moving on. Moving
Yeah,
on.
I
He
like
even
that. The
doesn't come
person
here
that
with
shall
his
not be named.
socks.
I actually tried that with Matt Powell for a while, and I just couldn't get used to. I'm actually surprised I got used to calling him Cupcake because I tried to call he who has no name for a little bit, and I just couldn't get there.
No, no, I tried. He's just not worth our time. He kept calling me out and calling me out and this, that, and the other. And when given the opportunity, he didn't arrive.
Yeah, and that's it's pretty much the same shit with me. Is like I gave him a chance after chance to come on. He wouldn't speak to any woman that would come on the stream, and then like he would, on stream sometimes he's actually fairly respectable. Like he's fairly respectful, but in the chats he'll be like, atheists are responsible for all the unborn children that are being murdered, and it's like what the
He doesn't
fuck,
even
dude?
acknowledge me now. I think he thinks that I've him blocked because he'll say things and all. I just continue on with what I'm talking about, and just for shits and giggles, I was having a bad day the other day, and Jay went live, and Jill popped in within 20 minutes, and you know the way he says shalom?
Yeah,
Yeah, I just banned him. I just kicked him out. I
yeah,
felt
that's
good
Tony's
for.
new.
Oh man, for about 3 hours afterwards, it's like I'd smoked the biggest bowl ever. It was just I was.
That's
on a
Tony's thing, and I think he's gonna be like the one person, like, and he's got so many Asaka accounts that I'll never remember them all. So when I do go back and unban people, because Matt Powell gets banned periodically, so I've pretty much got to go and unban him.
Ma-
I think I'm gonna leave Jill in the sock accounts I'm aware of just banned.
yeah, no, you're in.
And it's
I
not
would.
just Tony. I fully agree. Like the dude's a fucking. I'm not gonna say the word. We're gonna call him a Christian nationalist, but I mean a different word,
Yes.
and I mean that in all sincerity.
Yeah, look, man, you're in Jay's Discord. If in doubt, check with Jay. Jay has them memorized, and there's Tony saying he has them memorized as well. I've
Yeah,
most of them
yeah,
memorized.
I'll send you the list, and you can tell me which ones are his soccer accounts.
Yeah. We had a game at the start. It was just ban the sock. If you could guess which one was a Jill account, and instantly ban, because most people are blue here. I even give Jill blue admin. I give him fucking spanner in here for the first wee while, so he could come in and spout his shit. But that's all he did was spout his shit. So I
Yeah.
took his spanner
And-
away and made a
And
game
the only
out of it.
other person that's banned from my channel is Messenger, and it's for completely different reasons.
Yes,
And
we know
Messenger
that, yeah.
is actually capable of coming in my chat. He hasn't banned from my side chats. Um, but I could easily see my moderators doing so, and he'd be one of the ones that would be getting unbanned periodically until he learned how to play nice.
Yeah.
Because a lot of some of my moderators are the people he's beefing with, and he probably wouldn't want to come in my side chats if they're there.
Everybody gets one, and because me and him sort of go back a ways with the Skylar thing, and I sort of got known through Skylar, and thank you very much, Skylar, and thank you very much, Digital Hammer Abbey, for helping me make this channel what it is and starting me out and all that. But I go back with Jill that far, and I give that person a few chances. I try to give everybody one, and I give him more than one.
Well, you're like a moderator on Skylar's channel, right?
I would be, yes. But there's a lot of moderators on Skylar's, and his timing doesn't really work.
Yeah, because that whole drama on his shit to where Skylar had to ban him, and I mean, it's how I met Jill. Was he was trolling in Skylar's chat, and I was trolling him back, and I had him on my channel. I was like, "Come on my channel, coward!" And he's like, "Okay."
Yeah, no, he's had multiple choices, multiple chances, messed out on all of them, deliberately didn't come in, just as he says things to get it. I'm moving on. Rory, moderate me here, Rory, and fucking say
No, really, quick one. I wanted to ask you where Raging Atheist is from in America, because I need to wear the right hat.
The right hat.
Well, depending on where you are from in America. I presume you're from America.
Yeah, I'm from America.
Southern or northern states?
Michigan.
I live in the northern states, but I was raised in the southern states.
Okay, in that case, I will wear the correct hat. Just
I got you. Need to watch what this man's going on. Need to watch.
Yeah, I'm a mix. I'm a little bit of both. I'm that old South Park episode, a little bit of country and a little bit of rock and roll.
I'm a heavy metaler at heart and a goth back in the
I
days.
hate country, but I have pissed off my moderating team, I think, by saying that rap is better than heavy metal.
How's that? Do you like that, Raging?
Yeah, that's a Stetson.
Let me get to it. Oh yeah. I used to have one. Yeah.
Resist all, actually, but I did buy it in Texas.
So that's a real one.
My farmer caps out in the car. I was wearing it earlier. It's getting cold.
Yeah, I usually I wear ball caps mainly now, but I did have a really good cowboy hat when I lived in North Carolina, and I bet my dad still has that thing somewhere.
North Carolina is a good state. No, I like North Carolina.
It's all right. They're a little crazy now. Me and my another one of my friends who got out of there and moved north. We both kind of laugh at the insanity that we see on our Facebook streams.
What was that? Oh gosh, what was that famous movie scene? Where the chap gets buggered in the what's it called? Lost my mind there for a minute. Really famous old movie where they're lost in the outback, not the outback, but the Midwest somewhere, and attacked by the locals, and it's meant to be like West Virginia or somewhere. Can you think about the one? Someone in chat might be able to tell me. I can't think of the name of it at the moment. It's probably an 80s movie, I guess. No,
I'm sorry,
no
my
idea.
phone's fucking going mad. I just switched my phone on and there's like 50 fucking notifications on the damn thing. And we'll be rounding up anyway because Nock has to go and do his stream. And we've got Jay.
I got a few minutes left. I'm trying to think of this damn movie because it's like right on the tip of my tongue and I can't think of it.
I know.
Hello, Jay
What's the
Pasick.
movie?
Thank you very much for coming on, Jay. We've got Naka for another 15-20 minutes or so. Thank you.
Okay. What's the movie you're trying to think of?
The Hills Have Eyes.
Oh
No, but it's close to that one.
well, there's The Hills Have Eyes. There's the original, and then there's the remake, and then the sequel to that remake.
No, it wasn't that one.
What's the storyline? Premise?
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Three or four guys go into like West Virginia and try and hire a car.
Oh, the diddling ding 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 diddling ding 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 ding.
Deliverance?
Deliverance.
There
That's
you go,
it.
man. Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you forget that? It's got one of the best guitar banjo things going. Like.
It's got the possum boy.
Absolutely. But when you the reason I thought of it was, and I couldn't remember it, but thank you for that, was that was actually filmed in North Georgia, right by the Carolina border with Georgia.
They do a lot of filming there. Last of the Mohicans was filmed right there on the Rocky, or what is it called? Rocky Mountain Parkway, I think.
That's a
Blue Ridge
movie.
Parkway. Blue Ridge Parkway.
No, I
And,
like movies, but that's
yeah.
a movie I get bollocks for not watching. I've never watched that, and I do like watching movies, but
if you watch Last of the Mohicans, you're pretty much living in the mountains of North Carolina, just in a different time. It's nothing but mountain.
Yeah, it's
But
Chimney Rock.
What a fantastic area. What a beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Do you mind if Mathpig?
yes, dear.
Do you mind if I change my hat?
I don't care what you do, as long as you don't put certain parts of your body on camera. I'm happy enough. Like.
Only my nose.
As long as it's not a MAGA hat, you might trigger me.
I'm just chuffed. I'm just well chuffed with your audio. Your audio usually has the wife watching TV in the background.
Mathpig.
Yeah, there we go. How's that?
Go on ahead, Jay.
All right, good.
Just do not touch certain areas of your body while you're on live stream.
Yeah, not safe for kids. Not safe for kids here at all.
Well, Mathpig, it's always a pleasure to meet your friends online. It really is.
Well, Jay, I have to give Jay an awful lot of credit, and I'm not putting Nok down, but out of the four people that's in this room, Jay probably is, when it comes to philosophy and things like that. Even when stoned off his balls, that man can put anyone down. He's very, very logical, very intelligent, and I would suggest anybody who's not one out there, Jay puts out no content whatsoever until the mad wee hours in the morning for him, and he gets bored, and then he gets great conversations going. He's like a wee
not
hog.
always.
Some of the times it's not worth talking shite. But you had an 8 hour stream, man. What do you expect people to talk about for 8 hours? Like,
I used to do that shit, man. That shit, it wears on you.
yeah, I thought Jay was trying to break one way's 10-hour stream limit, you know.
Well, it helped because I was staying up all night with a sick pit bull again. So both times that I did that, I was dealing with a dog with violent diarrhea. So
See, unfortunately, when I was doing it, I was just getting obnoxiously drunk. So.
well, sometimes I did that too, but I've had to calm that down, calm that way down.
Me too. I am trying. I am trying.
So when I break out the sake, and then I was like, and people are like, "You remember talking about that?" I'm like, I have no fucking idea. What
Jay, I don't know what I've mentioned before, but obviously Nok mightn't have heard, Rory might have heard, but Jay busted my stream cherry. Jay bought his new cordless keyboard and his new cordless mouse, and he was checking it out on his new TV, and he was like, "Need someone to talk to." And I was like, fuck it. I've been out and about long enough. Jay's pretty cool. He'll not be an ass to me. He knows his weed. Let's have a chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing I'm going to be trying to do a lot in 2020 if I can make time for it, is to get on other people's channels more and get back into just chatting and conversating. I know the Skylar Fiction does it a lot, and it's something that I want to do because I have no problems being wrong. I will fucking argue.
Knock. What you need to do is you need to be like Jill and Praise are doing right now and just keep re-releasing old content as though it's new premieres.
No.
Yeah, I know. Like Jill was even released our fucking the first conversation we ever had. Jill released that shit like it was new.
You're banned. I'm kicking that man from the stream. Where are you?
There we go. How's that one? Phillies.
That's better than MAGA. Although there is a conversation now. Like we really need to have a movement in this country. You know, make red great again, because the MAGA hat has really ruined it for all the red hats. Now we just automatically, like, we see you from far away. We just, all right, there's a Nazi right there. Stay away.
Maybe it's the contrast on my screen, and I don't want to get into the whole blue dress whatever argument. But for me, that hat almost looks orange.
It looks
But
orange to me.
Yeah, it does kind of almost look orange.
Hold on a minute. No, it is red actually.
Yeah,
but
yeah. Phillies
okay.
are red.
it's definitely the camera or something. Yeah, or probably the halo of light coming from above me.
Well,
Yeah,
we
I think
just to
it's
shout out
lighting
and interrupt. This man's getting poked here, and it's 10 minutes from the time he said he was going to leave. So, if we've any questions from the chat or anything like that, there anybody wants to ask Naka before he's going to get dragged away, tag me or him in the chat. Let us know, and yeah, we'll do that before the man gets robbed. From us, not at gunpoint.
Well, you know, atheists wouldn't have a problem robbing anyone at gunpoint. You know, we don't have morals.
I know it was funny the other. I think it was earlier
I
today.
get that
I
too
was-
much.
If you haven't seen the Daily Atheist, he's got a lot of subscribers on Facebook. He's just moved to, well, maybe not just moved to fucking YouTube, but he's on YouTube now. And funny enough, man, I've only just recently met him. Technical geek, describes himself as an old man geek, playing with stuff and computers. And he made a comment, what was it? The Fellowship of the Rings. What is the community like in reference to the Fellowship of the Rings? And I was like, the Fellowship of the Big Atheist Money. Obviously.
It's all about that gold ring.
Exactly.
Yeah, I want that gold ring.
He's getting his marching orders from his daughter. I just saw that.
No, that's good, man. Any man that's out there that's strong and has leadership qualities always has a stronger woman standing behind him, keeping him fucking right. And, you know, it may be sexist for me to say that, but we all know what us men are like, and we forget and we procrastinate, and we'd rather talk shite and smoke a few bowls and have a few beers than take the bins out. If it wasn't for the wife to give you a slap on the back of the head and go, for fuck's sake, I've told you, then, you know, we wouldn't be the good people we are without the wives that we have behind us.
Well, I'd like to know who's standing behind Boris Johnson.
Oh, could you
Wouldn't
do
it
a
be
wee
funny-
favour,
wouldn't it be
just
funny
just
if
when
I-
you're here, man, and we're
just-
being funny? Can you do a
Wouldn't
wee
it be funny
pip pip?
if oh, sorry.
Sorry, can you do the wee pip pip there for Tony? Hold on 1 second. Can you do your wee pip pip for Tony Designs?
Now, pip pip indeed. Pip pip hurrah.
And what is it? I always get this wrong. Is it get away from me, Lucky Charms, or is it stay away from me, Lucky Charms?
Is that a question for me, Matthew?
More so the American audience. I say it a lot because Tony thinks it's funny, but every time I say it, he always says I get it wrong. I can't remember if it's get away from me, Lucky Charms, or is it stay away from me, Lucky Charms, or is it don't touch me, Lucky Charms.
Ooh.
The Leprechaun and the Lucky Charms adverts. Always
know.
after. There we go. Tony has
Always after me, Lucky Charms.
always after me, Lucky Charms.
Yeah, that's the old commercial me and Tony grew up with. Or Jay, you probably grew up in that area here in America.
Stay away from me,
In that
Lucky
era.
Charms.
That was like my whole childhood, Lucky Charms cereal.
Oh, yeah. Well, I know you said I sort of skipped over it. I did one of them moments where you said something and I just glanced over it. And you were like, yeah, I grew up Irish. And I was like, you are and you're fuck Irish. Moving on.
No, yeah, I definitely grew up American.
Nok, I just want to say, I know we're going to lose you soon, and I'm not kicking you off, but I just wanted to get this out before we do lose you and we're rushed for time. Really appreciate you coming on. You know,
Oh yeah, man, I'm gonna try to do it more. I enjoyed it. I had fun.
yeah, we do an awful lot of open streams and gaming streams, and I try to get as many people involved. If you've got the balls to say something in the chat, you got the balls to come on screen, I'll open it up for you. You're welcome to come in, and yeah, no, I appreciate you coming on, man.
Cool.
I really do, as I said earlier, I respect you an awful lot, and the fact you're making
Yeah, I
a step
appreciate
forward
it.
to make yourself better, that's always something. Pull your socks up, you know.
Yeah. It's all about trying to make it better, and I'm personally I'm actually thinking about like maybe like doing a series as I learn philosophy myself.
Oh,
Because I've been delving into it, but I'm thinking like maybe I can record me watching some of the lectures I'm watching. I don't know. Like I'm thinking about it, but yeah, the channel's gonna get a lot better.
Well, Nock, I would just on that topic, I would definitely, if there's a possibility of somebody getting an input with that, because I was trying to get a theist, an atheist, and an agnostic together on a Sunday to do. Carlton said he was up for it. It didn't sort of work out because we were trying to get one way in as well. He was going to be our theist. Don't laugh, Jay. Nobody else likes me. And he was going to be our theist. Carlton was going to be our atheist, and I was going to be the agnostic. The idea was to go through philosophical terms. We were going to call it Pig's philosophy. And at the end of the month, we would pick a topic, and then the three of us would row over it from different points of view. So
that'd be cool.
Yeah. So if you can, if we could, you're two agnostics, an atheist, a pagan. You've got friends with pagans. We can start a wee. It would be something interesting to go through. And yeah, I would definitely be interested if you're opening that up to other people, or if you want to get involved. It's definitely something I want to do as well.
Yeah, it's something that I want to. I've been promising to learn more. I've had Drag and Sokka offering to help me learn. So I'm going to really dedicate myself to learning more about philosophy this year, and making actual videos about it. And yeah, like I would be totally open to that. It would give me an excuse to try to think on philosophical terms, and maybe go up against one or two people that actually know philosophy more, and see if I can stand up to them.
That's exactly where I'm at, man. I want to fit him in the fedora. That's exactly where I'm at. I want to try and take my philosophy 101 and move it up to a philosophy 105. Get that wee bit better. And not that I'm going to start calling everybody out in their fallacies, because that fucking annoys my tits. And I'm not going to go down the route of, I heard your claim, interlocutor, and you're not this, that, nah, fucking. But yeah, it's definitely something I want to go down the route with. So
yeah, I want to have that knowledge to draw from, definitely.
Yes. Not rely on, but definitely draw from.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I do need to probably dip out of here and get into my stream with Ali. Feed my daughter real quick. Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. I'm definitely gonna try to do this more. I want to get in on a stream with on Jay's channel as well, and my friend Richard Matson. Like I way owe him an appearance on his channel. So this is something that I'm really going to be trying to do a lot more of, and stop being so damn isolated. I'm cutting down my edited videos every week to free up quite a few hours during the week. So it should be a lot easier for me to do shit. So hopefully that'll happen more.
Yeah, well, I gonna be biased, but put Richard to the top of that list. Richard's like my bromance co-host sort of thing going on. I bought.
Yeah, I do need to get on his channel. I think I promised him a couple times.
Yeah, I bought him a Christmas present. I have no idea how to get this Christmas present. Tell him the postage alone is going to cost like 4 times the price of the bloody Christmas present. But he's a good lad, and I would recommend putting Richard to the top.
Richard's good people. He's really good people.
Well, thank you very much, Nakatsuchi. I really do appreciate it. Tony sent me a link to your Discord, so the only thing missing from the description below is the Discord link, which will be in about 10 minutes afterwards. Rory, thank you very much for turning up. Jay, we'll chat after the stream goes off. But Jay, have you anything planned? Any rows you've got going on, Jay? Sorry, not that you've anything planned. Have you any rows or comment discussions going on? Knock, he's lost. We've lost him. You can use this opportunity, Knock, if you want to say bye and jump out, and not being rude and just letting you fly off. But thank you very much, man. Really appreciate you coming. We need to talk more. Definitely need to chat more.
Oh yeah, I appreciate you having me on, man. And I enjoyed it. It's been a while since I've done the interview format, so good questions. I enjoyed them.
Oh well, thank you. I think my questions are usually useless. I just like the tangent, and that's why things take so long in this channel. I used to, but no, man, really appreciate you coming on. Definitely, I have a lot of respect for you. You're one of the people I watched in the community before I even knew what was going on. I knew you from Sirius, as I say, and before I had the balls to put myself on screen, you were out there doing that, and a lot of respect for you.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah.
Right, now fuck off.
Tonight, me and Ali are gonna be back into Matt Powell's new movie, so it should be fun.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of the new movie. Are you starting it tonight?
Yeah, well, it's episode 3. I haven't done it in a couple weeks, but we're only 20 minutes into the movie so far.
Yeah. Well, if it's at 1 o'clock, we'll probably go here for another half hour, and then I'll definitely jump over. Not a
Oh yeah,
bad
you
idea.
guys, feel free. Just, I really enjoyed it, man, and I think I'm gonna start trying to do the after show thing myself. So yeah, things will be changing in 2020. But I am gonna dip out. You guys have a great night. Thanks a lot, Mathpig, for having me on.
Nakasuchi, you rock, my man.
You have a great night too.
See y'all later.
Looks for the button. You see the eyes? I was just waiting for the tongue to come out of the bottom left-hand corner. Where's that button? Is Jay still there? No, he's put the headphone. You've got wireless headphones, Jay. Why are you outside smoking without your headphones?
Well, it looks like just you and me, Mathpig.
I don't like being alone in a room with you, Jay, with somebody, or Rory with somebody watching. Right, well, what we're going to do is we've hit 2.5 hours and 23 seconds. We're going to end the stream. Big shout out to Nok. All the bits and bobs will be in the description. And yeah, thank you very much, Wildheart. Appreciate that. Wildheart666, good man, always out and about. Shay, I just noticed you in the chat. Thanks very much for turning up. Appreciate it. And yeah, everybody, lots of love. Don't know why the fuck yous are here, but
Mathpig, thank you for having me on again. It's always a pleasure.
well, I'll talk to yous all later. Bye bye.